Welcome to Fantasy Audiobook. I have a trillion protagonist halo. Chapter 81. Looking at Suzan above the sky, Yun Hengtian was shocked. Suzan has actually been so strong. How long has it been since the trip to the Dark Star Forest? If you give him a little more time to grow, no. This action is led by me. I am the leader. How can Suzan let me go? Today, he must be killed. At all costs, whatever it takes. Yun Hengtian clenched his fists tightly. At the same time he was horrified, he also made up his mind. He glanced at those who had fled, and shouted, "You think that you have escaped now, and Yun Tianjianmen will not come to the door to settle accounts. I'm here to kill this person, and you will help. This is our only way." Quote. As soon as the voice fell, Yun Hengtian took a deep breath, and the true essence in his body worked in a peculiar way. World Promise, Zhengyang True Body. 8 characters were spit out, and a little golden light appeared on the surface of Yun Heng's celestial body. Immediately afterwards, with him as the center, spiritual qi suddenly rioted in the 30-mile radius. Infuse him crazily. Suddenly, his practitioner vitality and blood power increased several times, and an extremely masculine power erupted from him. Zhengyang Zanbo. That is Zhengyang Zanbo. Zhengyang Zong's strongest secret technique. It is said that once this secret technique is used, it will cause irreparable damage to the body. I am afraid it will be difficult to enter the cultivation base in the future. More than that, if you use Zhengyang's true body once, at least 10 years of life essence will be burned, which is equivalent to 10 years of life loss. The Yun sect leader itself is a half-step ichthyosaur level combat power. Now using Zhengyang's true body, in the ichthyosaur realm, it is invincible. Seeing this scene, those practitioners who had been on the verge of collapse and had no intention of fighting at all suddenly gave birth to hope. The body surface was covered by golden light, and Yun Hengtian's eyebrows flashed. It turned into a 2-meter-long crimson spear and fell into his hand. Afterwards, bloody breaths escaped from his body and turned into a blood-chi giant tiger behind him, exuding a terrifying killing intent. Feeling his power rising to the top, Yun Hengtian's eyes flashed with golden light, and he slightly raised his head to look at Suzan. God body. Come, let me see if it's your god body, or my sacred body of tiger evil. Zhengyang's true body is amazing. As soon as the voice fell, Yun Hengtian stomped on the ground. Boom. Wherever he settled, cracks stretched towards the surroundings. The area of tens of meters was directly crushed by this foot. And Yun Hengtian, with the help of this kick, burst into the sky like Suzan like a cannonball. 18 blows from Yan lance. The flame of the gun body flows, like it is made of magma, emitting fiery heat, and piercing towards Suzan. That shot was 10 meters away from Suzan, and a flame storm had already swept over. Suzan also cut out with a single sword. Sparkle swordsmanship. Boom. Above the sky, a huge shock wave spread towards the surroundings. Suzan's body shook, and he retreated more than 10 meters away. Shenfengzhou turned into a white light and was put into the storage ring by him. The sword body of the extreme sun sword suddenly soared to 3 meters long, appeared at his feet, and dragged him. The practitioner of the Yuandan realm can step down from the sky with the help of wind, or it can fly into the sky, but when it comes to speed and dexterity, unless it is to cultivate a special movement technique, it is still not as good as the sword. Moreover, just relying on the physical body Yukong Zhenyuan consumes a lot. Standing still, Suzan looked forward. Yun Hengtian had retreated to 100 meters away at this time, and a faint cloud of mist was released from his boots, forming a white cloud-like thing to hold him. The sacred body of the tiger, the true body of Zhengyang, and my natal flame spear are all extremely heavy killing, and the attack is unmatched. Are you okay with one shot against me? The golden light on the surface of Yun Heng's celestial body vibrated, and his eyes were full of incredulous looking at Suzan. This is absolutely impossible. You must be bracing. Now I am an invincible existence under the ichthyosaur realm. Before Suzan could answer, Yun Hengtian already roared, denying his own guess, determined in his heart, and rushed towards Suzan again. It's another cut. Suzan's body surface was shining with stars, and he punched out. Boom. This punch directly blasted Yun Hengtian's gun body, which was turning back to defend in front of him. The pure and extremely strong physical power rushed out through the gun body. Puff. Yun Hengtian, who had been stunned by a sword, spit out blood. Just as he retreated with horror on his face, the Dahi star sword fell again. Yun Hengtian's body suddenly fell to the ground from the sky. Zhengyang's true body is scattered in every inch of golden light. He's not dead yet. Su Zan was a little surprised. Star Wuji body urged to the extreme, and blasted downward with a punch. Do not. Yun Hengtian was miserable, and a cry of fear sounded. Boom. There was a big earthquake below, and a huge dirt pit appeared. In the central location, Yun Hengtian's mouth is full of blood, and his vitality is cut off. The Cloud Sect leader is dead. Su Zan's combat power is afraid that it has reached the Yulong realm. Run. We don't add up enough for him to fight. ... Seeing Yun Hengtian's death, the fear in those people's hearts reached the extreme, and they did not dare to hold any hope anymore, and fled on the verge of collapse in spirit. Su Zandary's star sword swung, his figure flickered, and most of the people were beheaded. As for those practitioners who had already escaped from the beginning and were almost out of sight at this time, he didn't bother to chase them. Although he had already killed so many hostile forces practitioners, he didn't know how many came. Maybe Yun Tianjanmen had already fallen into a bitter battle at this time. The most urgent task is to return to Yun Tianjanmen as soon as possible. Collecting all the storage rings of those people, Su Zan released the Shenfengzhou and flew towards the Yun Tian sword gate. Yun Tianjanmen, the leader of Qin Jincheng, the big elder Chen Chengfeng, and a group of real power elder, leisure elder, deacon, true biography, inner sect outer sect disciples, more than 100,000 people, all look solemn, and the sword is out of the sheath. But several hours passed over time. They had been within 1,000 miles long ago, and none of the people who came violently toward the Janmen fart saw a single fart. They are also a little puzzled. The head, didn't you say that you were within 1,000 miles? Why is there no figure in sight? Yes. According to Brother Chen, that message was an inner disciple who used Yitangxin Jade to pass on to his Dao companion female disciple in Janmen before he died, even though the inner disciple was only used by those people. The pioneer investigators found that, but so long has passed, they should have known that our Yun Tianjanmen has already begun to prepare for battle. How come you are too late and give us enough time? Quote. There is indeed something strange. Could it be that they saw their deeds exposed and cancelled the action? How is this possible? They took pains to assemble and sneak into the territory of my Sha country, and they will never give up easily. Perhaps they are also entangled with other forces in Sha, waiting for those forces to arrive, and then encircle my sword gate. If that's the case, my sword is in danger. On the square outside the Great Hall of the main peak, elders were anxiously communicating. Qin Jincheng frowned and his mood became heavier. It's absolutely impossible for those people to retreat like this. It seems that most of them have a bigger conspiracy coming. Just when he was thinking about this, a white rainbow suddenly appeared in the sky ahead. Who is that? Yun Hengtian. Prepare for war. Sword sect disciple. Follow me to the death. Elder took the lead to leave the main peak and flew towards the white rainbow. Roars containing the belief in breaking the axe and sinking the boat sounded one after another. 100,000 disciples, taking a deep breath of air, are ready for death. Anyone who violates my sword will die. Daddy grew up in Janmen, and no one wants to let Daddy get out. In the future, Wang Hao, who is successful in cultivation, will surely kill your dog's hometown. Although many disciples did not see the enemy at all, they heard those elders' words. They were all roaring, staring at the sky where the white rainbow appeared. As Bai Hong approached, everyone could see that it turned out to be a small white jade boat, which was extremely fast. And many more. Just when everyone was holding their breath, Chen Chengfeng opened his eyes wide, looked at Bai Zhou, and then suffocated his true essence, and the sound spread out like a sea wave. Stop it all. Su Zan is the one. Hearing this sentence, those elder disciples were suddenly bewildered. Su Zan. How could he come from that direction? Isn't there Zhengyangzong and Yujia led by Yun Hengtian? How did he come here? Is it right that Brother Chen is wrong? It's not at all, it's Su Zan. As the distance approached, all elders could see clearly, and they were suddenly shocked. Immediately afterwards, the true disciple, inner disciple and outer sect disciple, also saw the figure on the Shenfengzhou. Oh my god. It's Brother Sue. What is Brother Sus foot? So fast. Senior Brother Sue is as handsome as ever. When are you still committing a nympho? The special swordsman is in danger of destroying the door. I don't care. Anyway, seeing Senior Brother Sue makes me feel safe in my heart. 100,000 disciples are boiling. After a series of events, Suzan has reached a very high position in the minds of the disciples in the Sword Gate. Seeing Suzan's return at this moment, although they knew that it was not helpful to the current crisis, they still felt a little settled in their hearts. As for some fanatical female disciples, they already shouted from below regardless of their demeanor. Suzan glanced over the disciples and smiled slightly. It seems that the worst expected scenario did not appear. The stone in his heart can also fall. Quickly open the formation channel. Qin Jincheng looked very excited and roared. The sword gate array opened a hole to let Suzan enter. Soon, Suzan drove the Shenfeng boat and landed on the main peak square. Just landed. A crowd of elder was already surrounded. Suzan, how did you come back? Your profound tool is very fast, not worse than Brother Chen's one. Huh, I feel that your temperament has changed again. Have you condensed the original pill? When Miao Elder said so, I realized that I can't see through Suzan cultivation base at all. Discourses rang out in disorder, and those elders were obviously looking at Suzan very curiously. To shut up. Qin Jincheng couldn't stand it anymore. He scolded, squeezed from the elders, looked at Suzan, and let out a long sigh. Suzan, you are fine, that's great. Thank you for your concern, an elder. I'm fine. Suzan gave his cupped hands a bow, and when he saw Qin Jincheng's nervous look, he was moved in his heart and thanked him very seriously. Chen Chengfeng strode forward and slapped Suzan's shoulder with a slap. He laughed and said, I knew it, you kid can die so easily. Ha 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 ha. After the joy, Chen Chengfeng also asked with some doubts, by the way, Suzan, how did you get back? I got news that Yun Hengtian led a large number of powerful men to besiege my Yuntian sword gate, and their primary goal is to kill you. How could you come back from Yu Nation unscathed? How did you do it? Qin Jincheng was also puzzled. The other elders stared at Suzan, looking forward to his answer. This matter is a long story. Suzan groaned. First of all, I left after condensing the Yuandan in Yu country, and ran into an early-stage practitioner in the Yuandan realm hundreds of miles outside the border of Sha country. Sure enough, he has achieved the original pill. Qin Jincheng showed a slight smile. Yuandan realm early stage, there shouldn't be any threat to Suzan, right? Suzan nodded. Indeed, I let him cut 2 swords, and he kept cutting my hair. Elder, the 11th of Elder's early stage realm's elder, was taken aback and retreated silently, feeling hurt. On your way back, did you only meet one Yuandan realm early stage? No, after that, I ran into 3 practitioners from the middle stage of the Yuandan realm. The elders raised their spirits and listened with their ears upright. Suzan continued. I killed 2 of them, and one of them escaped. By the way, he escaped with the Shenfeng boat when I came back. I chased him from behind, and soon I arrived in a formation called the Heavenly Thunder Slaying Array, and 3 Yuandan realm late stage presided over the formation. Quote. Tianlei punishes the formation. 3 Yuandanjing late stage presided over the formation. Hearing this, everyone was shocked. Even Chen Chengfeng and Qin Jincheng, who believed in Suzan's strength, were no exception. Because even if it is them, substituting themselves in, it will be too bad for you to be afraid of. At that time, I summoned the Great Sun Star Sword, first hacked one to death, then broke the formation, and then hacked to death the fastest man who controlled the Shenfeng boat, and then continued to kill the other 2. Suzan recalled. It's that simple. If not. Suzan looked at Chen Chengfeng in surprise. Chen Chengfeng was choked at once, and looked at each other with Qin Jincheng and the elders. Both of them saw the shock in each other's eyes, bewildered. There are 3 late-stage masters in the Yuandan realm, 1 strong in the middle stage of the Yuandan realm, and a big formation. Is it broken like this? And, listen to your kid. How do we feel that you are not killing the middle stage, late-stage powerhouse of the Yuandan realm? It's more like cutting a few big watermelons. When you say that, it's embarrassing to make us who are also the late stage of Yuandan's late stage. Chen Chengfeng and those elders were very depressed, but they did not ask at this time, waiting for Suzan to finish. Afterwards, I drove the Shinfengzhou, and just happened to encounter those people planning an attack, so I stimulated the divine body, and went down with a sword. First, I cut off a dwarf who was probably the peak strength of the Yuandan realm, and then. And many more. When Qin Jincheng heard this, his heart moved. The dwarf at the peak of the Yuandan realm. Does he have only one-eyed? Do you know everything about the head? Suzan was a little surprised. The corner of Qin Jincheng's mouth twitched. Suzan, if I guess right, that person is mostly Lan Xiao, the deputy sect leader of the Blast Mountain sect. He was defeated by junior brother Chen, and his eyes were destroyed that time. Quite strong. I didn't expect that. I can't take a sword from you. Is he strong? I can't feel it. Suzan shook his head. You can beat him with a single sword, you feel like a fart. Chang is for the vast majority of people in Tianan. Qin Jincheng roared in his heart, and immediately, he thought of Yun Hengtian, and hurriedly asked, what about Yun Hengtian? He is the sect leader of Zhengyang sect. Frankly speaking, if he uses Zhengyang's true body, even I will retreat, and I dare not stand up against him. Have you met him? Quote. It turns out that that person is called Yun Hengtian. Suzan looked solemn and nodded. I met, this person inspires the Eucharist, plus that behind Zhengyangjian, it is indeed very strong. I made 3 full swords and 2 punches. Quote. After speaking, Suzan stopped. A group of elders were waiting with expectation for Suzan and Yun Hengtian's fierce battle to tell the story. When they saw Suzan, they suddenly stopped talking, and they were all puzzled. Chen Changfeng couldn't help asking, what then? Suzan swept away those Chen Changfeng and those who listened carefully, full of curiosity, and looked forward to Elder, who was a little surprised. Then he is gone. What else is there to say? Then he is gone. On the square, whether it was Qin Jincheng, Chen Changfeng, or those elders of the Yuandan realm, they were all stunned after hearing these words. Immediately after I understood what Suzan meant, there was a boom in his mind, and there was a short blank. Only Suzan's phrase, then he is gone, echoed in his mind. Shocked. It was too shocking. Qin Jincheng was the first to come back to his senses, breathing harder, staring at Suzan and said, Suzan, you mean you killed Yun Hengtian with 3 swords and 2 punches? Instead of defeating him and letting him run away NS. He is indeed dead, I can see it clearly. Su beheaded nodded. If the internal organs were shattered by a punch, and the heart was cracked into several petals without knowing it, then Yun Hengtian could not die, then he could only say that Yun Hengtian was too awesome. But Yun Hengtian is really strong, how could he? Meow Elder murmured, a little unbelievable. He is really strong. Suzan said earnestly. I slashed him 3 times and punched him twice. Besides, I was injured. You are hurt. Chen Changfeng's heart was tight. Is it serious? Very serious. Feeling the internal injury caused by the opponent's Qi Jin during the battle with Yun Hengtian in his body, Su said, it's very serious. Sleeping for 1 night tonight may not be good tomorrow. Chen Changfeng was a little speechless. Sleep for 1 night can heal the injury, do you call it serious? If not, Suzan said seriously. This is the worst injury I have ever suffered since my cultivation. Chen Changfeng didn't know what to say. Chen Elder, what's wrong with you? I'm a little tired, you should talk to the head brother. Chen Changfeng waved his hand. I made up my mind to talk to Suzan less in the future. What a special cultivation to the Yuandan realm and suffered the most serious injury, it turned out to be a good level just by resting for a night. This made Chen Changfeng, who had managed to reach the Yuandan realm after untold hardships and struggles, felt panic in his heart. Too frustrated, Suzan looked at Qin Jincheng. By the way, because the situation is urgent, I rushed back. I only charge most of those people's things, and some are missing. You can now send someone to collect those people. Weapons, treasures. In terms of location, it was about 500 miles away from the direction when I came, under a big mountain. Quote. You mean, those people have broken up? Yes, at least on the way I came, there are no enemies anymore. Qin Jincheng took a deep breath and suddenly laughed and said, okay. Okay, great. Those people may not even think of it in their dreams. They planned carefully to attack my Yuntian sword gate, but in the end they couldn't even touch the mountain gate. It's broken. Ha ha ha. Since there is nothing more, I will return to Baiyun Peak first. Su Zan said. Yu Jian left. Until then, every elder was still in a daze, feeling like he was dreaming. Originally, they had planned desperately, but the enemy collapsed before they even reached the door. Moreover, it was defeated by Su Zan alone. This is so exaggerated, isn't it? One person defeated dozens of Yuandan realm practitioners including Yun Hengtian. If I remember correctly, it hasn't been 2 months since Su Zan started, an elder said. The head Qin Jincheng glanced at the elders and said with a smile, okay, there is nothing to lose. Whoever regards Su Zan as a comparison object is purely self-seeking and boring. Let's go. Although it is impossible for Su Zan to lie, we still have to investigate, and the wealth of those people can be considered a considerable wealth. Quote. Subsequently, under the leadership of Qin Jincheng, a small group of elder followed him to explore the direction when Su Zan came. The second day, Su Zan killed Yun Hengtian by himself, and the news of defeating the enemy spread throughout the Yun Tian Janmen. The sword sect disciple who had already admired Su Zan very much, now he almost regards Su Zan as the guardian deity of the sword sect. Some people say Brother Su is the reincarnation of the heavenly sword immortal. Some people also say that Brother Su is not the reincarnated sword immortal, because he is the sword immortal. There are different opinions. Unless Bai Yunfeng had restrictions, most people would not be able to enter. Those female disciples of inner sect and outer sect who are madly obsessed with Su Zan can pack him from the entrance of a mortal cave to the whole stone road down the mountain. Although Su Zan didn't go to see these things in person, he guessed it in his heart. But he didn't care too much about these little things, and returned to a mortal cave, and took out those storage rings from his body. During this time, he got a lot of things. Only the geniuses of Dark Star Forest plus the storage rings captured in this battle with Yun Hengtian and others alone are more than 100. No less. Not to mention that there are other places. Take an inventory. Leave the things that are needed, and the rest, except for some special ones that are put into the Yun Tian Sword Gate treasure house, he intends to sell the others. After all, the world is very big. He doesn't need spirit stones at the Sword Gate, he can take it at will. If he encounters any good things in other places, he still needs to buy it with money. Without reaching out to the Yun Tian Sword Gate, he sells these things, is the best choice. Thinking about this, Su Zan opened the gates of a mortal cave. Before he went out, he saw Wang Hao who was watering the flowerbed specially circled not far in front. This guy really regards himself as a gardener. Su Zan felt a little funny and went out. Brother Su, I have planted the sunflower you mentioned. This sunflower is very special, it is the spiritual herbs of heaven and earth. You can eat melon seeds in half a month at most. Wang Hao quickly smiled when he saw Su Zan come out. Okay, thank you, but instead of wasting time here, you might as well do something for me. Wang Hao was startled, and cautiously said, Senior brother Su can't do things, junior brother is afraid. Don't worry, it's not for you to fight and kill. Su Zan smiled. It's just that I have some debris, which has been piled up for a long time. Normally I have never been to auction houses, practitioner markets and other places. I am not familiar with it. If you are willing, please help me to dispose of these debris. Okay, save me time and effort. Hearing what Su Zan said, Wang Hao relaxed and patted his chest and said, Senior brother Su, please give orders. Although I am a little ant compared to senior brother Su, I am a little ant, but in other respects, I am not. The true story is a big family, from a big power. It's like me who has been so hard to get into the Yun Tian Sword Gate. I dare say that when dealing with these miscellaneous things, no one in the entire Baiyun Peak is more familiar than me. Quote. Just after the words were spoken, Wang Hao added, Of course, that's because Brother Su, you're exceptionally talented, and you have no time to waste time on these trivial matters. Otherwise, with Brother Su's talent, no matter what, you'll learn a little bit, that's not a brother comparable. Okay, you have to have a degree of flattery. If you do this thing well, it will benefit you. Su Zan waved his hand impatiently and threw out a sack. Senior brother Su, didn't you say that there is a pile of sundries, that's all? Yes, you will find me after you have processed all these. Now I am going to the Janman treasure, and you will finish it as soon as possible. Su Zan nodded, stepped lightly, and walked down Baiyun Peak extremely fast. Seeing Su Zan who was leaving, Wang Hao was taken aback for a moment. He originally thought that Su Zan would give him a storage ring, but he didn't expect it to be just a sack. How much can a sack contain? And this sack doesn't seem to contain much. Could it be some extremely rare pill refining materials? Thinking like this, Wang Hao opened the sack. Just one glance, the whole person was dumbfounded. What a special thing. A sack of storage rings. Frozen for a few seconds, the water in the kettle fell on his feet unconsciously, and Wang Hao came back to his senses. Swallowing a mouthful of saliva, carefully picked up a storage ring, injected the real yuan, mental energy entered it and checked the contents. FK. Mystery. 5 bottles of Junyuan pill. This is Lingyuan grass. ... After checking more than a dozen rings, Wang Hao's hands trembled a little. There are some things in the storage ring, which are several times higher than his net worth combined. At first glance, it was a genius like Qi Yang that a certain force tried its best to cultivate. Su, brother Su, how many geniuses have been killed, the strong, it's terrifying. Looking at the storage rings, Wang Hao seemed to see a scene of the fall of a famous genius, and his body trembled. After a while, he calmed down, thought for a while, took out the sound transmission talisman, and called Yu Qing among the true disciples who had a good relationship with him. With so many things, it is really difficult for him to deal with it in a short time by himself. It just so happens that Yu Qing is also quite familiar with these things, so it will be much faster for him to help. It didn't take long for Yu Qing, who was like a thin monkey, to arrive. Brother Wang, what are you asking me to do? Let's see for yourself. This is what senior brother Su explained to deal with. Wang Hao pointed to the sack and said, something doesn't need a storage ring to use hemp FK. Looking at the storage ring in the sack, Yu Qing was stunned for a few seconds, then rubbed her eyes vigorously. I. You read it right. Wang Hao guessed what Yu Qing was going to say, and interrupted directly. Don't cultivate these few days and do things for brother Su, you will definitely get more benefits than you cultivate for a few days. Moreover, even if there is no benefit, it is a great honor to be able to do things for brother Su and to have a little relationship with brother Su. Yu Qing, I will not force you, will you help? Quote. Help. Yu Qing's eyes rolled. Brother Wang, if we are in this relationship, then I will just say it straight, and you will answer truthfully. Brother Su, have you really counted them all? Will he not see anything at all, even if 1 or 2 are missing? Do you want to die? Wang Hao looked at Yu Qing with a foolish expression. You don't have to think about it. Where did these storage rings come from? Where did it come from? Yu Qing repeated it, thinking of a certain possibility, shocked, cold sweat on his forehead. Think clearly now. Wang Hao sneered. You have to be greedy of brother Su's things, I have no objection. Only if this is the case, I can guarantee that next time brother Su's sack storage ring will also include your Yu Qing's one. Quote. How dare I? Hearing Wang Hao's words, Yu Qing's face paled with fright, her legs trembled, and a feeling of horror came into her heart. Okay, hurry up and take a trip to the sword gate with me and take care of everything. Wang Hao said, put the kettle in the storage ring, and left the place with the sack. Yu Qing turned around to keep up. The clothes on the back have been wet with cold sweat. ... After finishing all the trivial matters, Su Zan returned to Baiyun Peak and started closed-door training cultivation. Spark streaming light swordsmanship has not yet reached its peak. Star Wuji hasn't grown up yet. After completing these 2 goals, they will have to cultivate some high-level movement technique, fist technique, and palm techniques. Even cultivation technique needs to find a way to find a fit. There are many things, and there is no time to waste. Mainly, there is no place to waste. In this world, you can't play games, read novels, or watch movies. The only fun, I am afraid that only fall in love. But this kind of thing can't be forced. No feeling is no feeling. With a sigh, Su Zan dispelled all the messy thoughts in his mind and focused on cultivation. Now, Yongguo. Inside Zhengyangzong, the remaining 8-bit Yuan Dan realm elder gathered together, and their expressions were all ugly. This time, my Zhengyang sect has fallen to 15 people in the Yuandan realm, and 62 people in the main soldier realm. It is the first time that Zhengyang sect has suffered such a heavy loss for more than 500 years. Even sect leader didn't come back. Suzan. It's all because of Suzan. This son is our Jungyang sect's #1 enemy. Every elder expresses his anger. In Jungyang sect, Elder Sao Mu, the highest ranking penalty hall among the left behind people, glanced at those people and said, "What do you mean, you want to take revenge? Nonsense. This hatred is not shared, we must." "Okay. Then you go." Sao Mu said directly. The man's face changed slightly, and he closed his mouth suddenly. "Who else is going to take revenge?" Everyone Sao Mu looked at was silent. "I know the anger and sadness in your hearts, why am I not? It's just that you guys think about it, that Suzan single-handedly opposed the 4 major forces, how terrible he is, haven't you thought about it? Revenge. Perhaps it is better to die." Quote. Sao Mu took a deep breath. "At this time, what we should think most is how not to be destroyed by Yuntian Janman. This time we took the initiative to attack the Yuntian sword sect, which was torn apart, and now our Jungyang sect's vitality is greatly injured. You say, can we resist the Yuntian sword sect? No. To put it another way, can our Jungyang sect be able to stop the pervert called Suzan?" Quote. The 7 elders were silent. "Okay, I have thought about this for a long time. Tomorrow, I will bring our Jungyang sect's treasure, and personally go to Yuntian sword sect to plead guilty. If I fail to come back alive within 3 days, Jungyang sect, just disband it. It's better not to leave the chickens and dogs killed by then." Sao elder, you don't say it anymore. Sao Mu looked at the afterglow of the sunset outside the great hall and smiled miserably. "I have decided. If I did something wrong, someone must bear the consequences." A similar situation happened in the other 3 forces that besieged Yuntian Janman. After seeing Suzan's extremely terrifying strength, no one thought of revenge at all. At this time, they just want to live. Sha Guo, East Palace. Prince Sha Kishan was holding in his hand jade slip about the 4 forces led by Suzan to defeat Yun Hengtian. Watching, jade slip fell to the ground with a sudden shaking of his hand. "Prince." The maid on the side quickly picked it up, knelt on the ground, held it in her hands and handed it to Sha Kishan. He is already terrified to such an extent, even the father is probably not his opponent." Sha Kishan seemed to be unable to see the maid, his face was pale, his legs trembled, and he murmured, "Last time, I was able to come back alive. It's really the Emperor's blessing. But who knows if Suzan still hates me, after all, I didn't get his forgiveness at the beginning. If this is when he comes on a whim and strikes a sword at my East Palace, won't I, the prince, be able to enter the earth?" The more I thought about it, the more afraid Sha Kishan became. The 9th brother. The 9th brother and Suzan went to the Dark Star Forest together. I heard that they have a good relationship. If Brother Ju came forward to explain and apologize for me, maybe Suzan would forgive me. Brother 9. Only Brother 9 can save me. Quote. There was a glimmer of hope in his heart, and Sha Kishan suddenly pushed away the maid, and drove to the 9 princes' mansion. Upon meeting, Sha Kishan asked directly, 9 brothers, I heard that you have a very good relationship with Yuntian Janman Suzan. It's not a good relationship. At best, it's fine. Count as an acquaintance. Dage, why are you asking about this? Before Sha Chihai finished speaking, he saw Sha Kishan plop and kneel before him. Suddenly stunned. I haven't finished speaking yet. Why did you kneel suddenly? Dage, what are you doing? Get up. Sha Kishan got up, crying with a sad face. 9 brother, you must help me this time. I offended Suzan a few days ago. You should know about this, right? I heard a little bit of wind, but Dage, you have already come back. Brother Su is generous, and if you have grievances, he will make it clear in person. Since he let you go, he probably didn't take this matter to heart. Sha Chihai looked helpless and said, besides, you are the prince. He wants to deal with you, so he has to consider whether our father is not. If it was before, I must have the same idea as you, but now, I know that Suzan has defeated Zhengyang sect, Yujia, Wangfeng Valley, Burst Mountain sect, the 4 powerful forces in the 4 kingdoms, each of which is equivalent to the Yuntian sword. The status of the door in our Sha country, Brother 9, tell me what he has to worry about. A look of fear appeared on Sha Kishan's face. Father. Father is not his opponent. Unless I hide in the Great Hall of the Imperial Palace for the rest of my life, and rely on the strong formation of the Imperial Palace, I might be able to save a life. No. Suzan is growing so fast that he can be called heaven-defying. Who knows where he will reach in 3 to 5 years, by then, perhaps a sword can smash all of our Shah Kingdom Palace. Such a fierce man, can you say I'm not afraid? Quote. One person defeated the 4 top forces in the 4 countries. Dage, what you said, is it true? Sha Chihai was a little unbelievable. Brother Su is indeed very perverted, but this is also inevitable. Really. It's all true. The news I just got. The 4 major forces jointly besieged Yuntian Janmen, and the result was defeated by Suzan alone, so true. Otherwise, why would I be so anxious? Since Brother Ju is familiar with Suzan, you must help me say a few words for Suzan to accept my apology. Quote. This, okay. Then set out tomorrow, and I will bring the true martial arts sword given to me by my father. Sha Chihai was startled. Dage, since you are going to apologize, why do you want to bring a powerful killing weapon like the true martial sword, and with your realm, if you use the true martial sword for strong action, I'm afraid. I'm going to give it to Suzan as a show of sincerity. Okay, I'm going to prepare for the 9th brother, and I will come to you tomorrow. After speaking, Prince Shah Kishan hurriedly left. Send the entire country of Shah, second only to the King Shah sword in the hands of the father, the true martial sword of the Yuntian spirit sword in the hands of the head of the Yuntian sword gate to Brother Su. Sha Chihai was stunned, muttering in his mouth. King Shah sword, Yuntian spirit sword belong to the sword of inheritance, only King Shah and Yuntian sword gate head can hold. Therefore, in a sense, the Junwu sword is actually the strongest weapon Sha Guo can obtain. However, thinking of Suzan's defeat of the 4 major forces alone, Sha Chihai suddenly let go. What is a true martial arts sword for a peerless and powerful man like Su brother? Speaking of which, Brother Su's strength ascension is so fast, he is almost the #1 powerhouse in Sha right now. This is the Yuntian sword gate. Should I call him Brother Su as before, or should I call him Su Senior? Ah, this guy's strength ascension is too fast. It makes me have a headache. Sha Chihai looked depressed and sighed. 1 day later. The main peak of Yuntian sword gate is in the Great Hall. Chen Chengfeng hurriedly walked in. Brother Head. Zhengyang Sect Penalty Hall Elder Sao Mu is here. Several elders immediately became angry when they heard the 3 words Zhengyangzong. Zhengyang Sect. Are they so courageous? They still want to attack us Yuntian Janmen. Damn it. Please order from the head, let me meet him. You fart. The old man suffocated his stomach for a long time, and let the old man kill him himself. To shut up. Qin Jincheng glanced at a few elders, yelled, then looked at Chen Chengfeng and said, he's here to beg for peace, right? Senior brother had expected well. He did say that it was a request for peace. Moreover, he brought the Zhengyang true body secret art and the 25 seedlings of the Zhengyangzong's unique heaven and earth elixir, Yongyi Sao. I hope you can stop pursuing this matter. Zhengyang body, Yangye grass seedlings. It seems that they are really scared this time, haha. Qin Jincheng smiled and said, let him wait. Wait. When will you wait? Wait for people from the other 3 major forces to come together, and let them come in to discuss this together. That's how the brother-in-chief decides that they will all come to ask for peace. Certainly. With a hint of arrogance, Qin Jincheng said in his chest, after seeing the true strength of my Yuntian Janmen Tianzhao Suzan, where can they have the courage to continue to fight against my Janmen? That's true, then I will go back to him now. Chen Chengfeng smiled and walked out of the Great Hall. After half a day, the 4 major forces were all counted, and under the command of the head Qin Jincheng, they were taken to the Great Hall, the main peak. The 4 Yuandan realm peaks, even half-step ichthyosaur level powerhouses, stood in the Great Hall without seats. Like a prisoner of the same rank, he was scrutinized by Janmen Elder. The head Qin Jincheng sat on the upper seat, and without waiting for those people to speak, he straightforwardly said, everyone, you can ask for peace. I only have one request. From now on, your 4 major forces will become vassals of my sword. Everything is going on. Subject to my Janmen order. As soon as this statement came out, the faces of the 4 top powerhouses changed drastically. Can head Qin change the conditions? If you become a vassal, How different is it from Miman? Ijungyang sect is willing to offer all the treasures of sect, but it is really unacceptable to vassalize sword sect. My family has passed on for 1,500 years. Even the royal family can't make my family a vassal. Is this request of Qin Head a bit too much? Qin Jincheng's reaction to them was not surprising at all, and he smiled and said, there is still a difference. If the gate is destroyed, then it will really break the inheritance, and your lives will not be preserved. The vassal is only surrendering to my sword. You can cultivation within your own sect forces as usual. Of course, I don't force it. If you don't want to, you can just refuse it. Quote. The four strong faces were extremely ugly. Obviously, I didn't expect that Yuntian Janman didn't put those treasures they dedicated to put in one's eyes at all, but wanted all of them. After becoming a vassal, it means that everything is left to Yuntian Janman to take and deploy. In this case, the four major forces have existed in name only. Zhengyang sect Cao Mu said solemnly, is this what you mean by Qin sect or Suzan? To be honest, compared to Qin sect, I care more about the latter. As soon as this remark came out, those elders of Yuntian Janman were immediately angry. Presumptuous. Do you dare to despise the head? Cao Mu said. I am ready to die on this trip. What else to be afraid of? Qin Jincheng glanced at Cao Mu and said coldly. I have discussed with Suzan a long time how to deal with this situation. This is what I meant, but at the same time, it was what Suzan meant. It was Suzan's meaning. Cao Mu, who was still a little dissatisfied, suddenly fell down. The other three powerful forces also showed hopelessness in their eyes. If only Qin Jincheng insisted on going his own way, it wasn't Suzan's intention. They can obtain Suzan's forgiveness by offering various treasures, but in fact, there is no need to be so afraid. After all, as the top forces of the four countries, they all have inextricable connections with the royal families of their respective countries, a Yuntian sword gate, traveling a long distance, wanting to destroy their four major forces, it is very difficult. But if it was Suzan himself, that's very different. Thinking of Suzan's terrifying strength, the hearts of several people trembled. If Suzan wants to destroy them, it's very simple. Just go there alone, because unstoppable. Moreover, in a sense, Suzan is even more terrifying than the total of less than 10 Yulong realm powerhouses in the southern heavenly 15 kingdoms. Because the strong in the Yulong realm is above the secular, they have an agreement with each other that they are not allowed to shoot at the weaker forces at will. For the countries of the southern heaven, the Yulong realm is more like a deterrent force. But now, Suzan has the power to approach the Yulong realm infinitely without the limitations of the Yulong realm. It's really terrible. Head Qin, this time we are indeed very sinful. Can we see Suzan? We imagine him apologize personally. You want to see Suzan? Qin Jincheng guessed the thoughts of these people at once. Most of them wanted to intercede with Suzan to change the result of becoming a vassal. However, this matter started because of Suzan, and the real target of these forces was Suzan. There was indeed no reason to refuse and let them apologize personally. Thinking about this, Qin Jincheng said, Suzan is at closed-door training. If you want to apologize to him, wait under Baiyun Peak. When he leaves the customs, you can see him. Excuse me, Head Qin, Su cut him, how long does it take to leave the customs? I don't know about this. If you don't want to wait, no one will force you to fight. But from now on, my Janman will not give you a chance to become a vassal again, understand? Quote. Qin Jincheng's voice was cold, but there was a chill of killing intent. Clear. The four nodded quickly. Under the leadership of an elder, head to Baiyun Peak. Under Baiyun Peak, disciples of men and women wandered and chatted, looking up from time to time, looking forward to meeting Suzan down the mountain. Since Suzan was deified in Janman, the empty Baiyun Peak has also become lively. Many inner disciples come here when they are free from cultivation. There is a female disciple who fantasizes about some special relationship with that brother Su. There are also male disciples who regard Suzan as idols. At this moment, seeing the arrival of Cao Mu and others, they all looked at them curiously. This is Baiyun Peak. It really is Zhonglingman show. No wonder that Suzan's kind of heaven-defying talent can be cultivated. I hope I can see Suzan soon. Being a vassal is too difficult for people to accept. Other conditions are easy to say. Okay, stop talking nonsense. This place is mine, go to another place. The 3.5-step ichthyosaur realm experts sat cross-legged on the square below the Baiyun Peak stone road, closed their eyes slightly, and ignored the inner disciples' comments around them. Cao Mu glanced at Bai Yunfeng, took off a flower green cloth bag on his waist, opened the mouth of the bag, and a light yellow bird flew out and moved up and down around him, quite wise. Tell you, elder, this matter is more complicated than I expected and cannot be resolved in a short time. Qin Jincheng said he wouldn't cut the envoys. Although this person was once my Zhengyang sect enemy, he has always promised that his words can still be trusted. I will be fine. Let them wait patiently for me to return. Quote. Chi. The little bird screamed, fluttered its wings, and flew towards the distance. And Cao Mu also found a place, sat down and waited quietly. I found that I couldn't see through the cultivation base realm of Cao Mu and others at all, and those inner disciples were a little surprised. These 4 people have special identities. They are all Yuan Dan realm practitioners. They are waiting for Suzan to exit the pass. Don't provoke them. Of course, if they oppress my Yun Tian sword sect disciple, you will report it, and the head will be the master for you. The elder said to a group of inner disciples and left here. The strong of Yuandan realm. Upon hearing this, the faces of those disciples changed slightly. But soon, they returned to normal. What about the Yuandan realm? Don't you want to wait here? Looking at what they are wearing, you know that they are not members of the Sha country. I'm afraid I might ask Brother Su. Whatever they are doing, we just ignore it. Anyway, there is Senior Brother Su, so what if they are in the Yuandan realm? Don't you dare to mess around. That's true. Brother Su has beaten all the 4 powers to the ground 2 days ago. These people are really nothing. Speaking of which, the people of the 4 major forces are really rubbish. ... The chattering words of sword sect disciples came one after another, and Cao Mu and others looked ugly. If they changed to normal times, they would have already shot and killed these inner disciples that only had the Ning Yuan realm. But now, can only endure. Because, on Baiyun Peak, there was a man named Suzan. It didn't take long. Miao Elder took the 9 Prince Sha Qihai, and the Prince Sha Kishan appeared. Coming to the bottom of Baiyun Peak, Miao Elder stopped. You just wait here. Suzan is focusing on cultivating sword technique at closed-door training, don't bother him. The 9 Prince Sha Qihai looked at Sha Kishan and hesitated. Miao Elder, I don't care, but Dage, is the prince somehow. Wouldn't it be inappropriate to let him wait under the mountain? Prince. Miao Elder laughed, and casually pointed to one of the 4 people sitting cross-eyed. Do you know who he is? Do not know. Sha Qihai shook his head repeatedly. That is the contemporary sect leader of the Wu State Burst Mountain sect, half a step in the Yulong realm. Half a step in the Yulong realm. Sha Qihai was startled, his eyes widened, a little unbelievable. Before he took a closer look, he saw Miao Elder pointing at another person. That is the contemporary patriarch of the Yu family, the first family of the Tanggalan kingdom, half a step into the Yulong realm. This person is a retired elder from the Yellow Wind Valley of Qi, and he is also a half-step ichthyosaur. As for this person, Miao Elder pointed to Cao Mu. He is the punishment elder of Zhengyang sect, the peak of the Yuan Dan realm. The reason why he came is because both sect leader and elder of Zhengyang sect were killed. He is already the strongest in Zhengyang sect. Quote. This. Sha Qihai's mouth was dumbfounded, with cold sweat on his forehead, what he wanted to say, but couldn't say anything. He couldn't think of killing him, sitting on the ground so quietly, even those inner disciple who could look and tease unscrupulously. It's actually a powerhouse of this level. Sha Kishan was even more daunted than Sha Qihai. After the daunting, great fear grew in his heart. Suzan, perhaps even more terrifying than the rumors. Otherwise, how could these half-step ichthyosaurs sit cross-legged here and wait? A smile appeared on Miao Elder's face, and he glanced at Sha Kishan and Sha Qihai who were already startled. They are here to apologize to Suzan, and the same goes for you. They can only dare to wait at the foot of the mountain, the prince, the 9 princes, do you think? Are you qualified to go up the mountain? Quote. I don't. Sha Qihai's face flushed, ashamed. Half-step ichthyosaur, that is a strong man who even King Sha dare not look down upon. In front of those people, I'm not fart. Even the identities of those people were not worth mentioning in front of Suzanne, waiting under the mountain without complaint. Prince Shah, Prince, what is it? Sorry, it was Brother Nine who made a mistake for a while. Shah Kishan trembled in her heart and quickly apologized. Turning his head, he showed a wry smile and said to Shah Chihai, 9 brothers, let's wait here. You must remember to put down any identity. In front of Suzanne, we are not farts. I'll rely on you to help me say a few words later. If you can get Suzanne's forgiveness this time, I will thank you very much when I go back. Quote. All brothers, I try my best. Shah Chihai nodded, took a deep breath, and a smile appeared on his face. Suzanne is so powerful, will he be able to brag to others in the future? That year, he also fought side by side with Suzanne. Ahem. Fighting side by side seems a bit too much. After all, in Dark Star Forest, he also reminded a few words, but regardless of him, in short, Suzanne is strong, this is a good thing. Shah Chihai thought secretly in his heart. 3 days later. Baiyun Peak, in Immortal Cave on the 17th. Suzanne felt a little bit, opened his eyes, stretched out his hand, the power of the true essence surged, and took the sound transmission talisman dozens of meters away into his hand. After being excited, Wang Hao's voice rang. Senior Brother Su, all of your sundries have been sold. I am outside your immortal cave. When it is convenient for you, you can see me when you open the door. It was sold out so soon. Suzanne was a little surprised, got up and went to the door and opened the door. Sure enough, Wang Hao sat cross-legged there. Brother Su. Seeing Suzanne, Wang Hao quickly greeted him and handed Suzanne a storage ring. This is the spirit stones after Brother Su has sold all those things. I have specially left a storage ring with the largest space for storage. Brother Su, you said you need to deal with it as soon as possible, so the price is not too good, but I will definitely try my best to get the highest price for Brother Su. While talking, Wang Hao took out a roll of jade slip. This is a monocular, with detailed records. A total of 31.27 million spirit stones. Brother Su, please have a look. Suzanne took it, and first inspired jade slip with true yuan, glanced at the selling prices of various items on the light curtain, and then with a big wave of his hand, he threw out all the spirit stones in the storage ring. Those spirit stones piled up into a hill 7 or 8 meters high in the open space in front of Immortal Cave. Bright and dazzling, Wang Hao swallowed while watching. Although he had seen it several times before, he couldn't help feeling shocked every time he saw this situation. You take 30,000 spirit stones. It's the glory of my Wang Hao to do things for Brother Su, how can I? Really not, Suzanne asked back. Then thank Senior Brother Su. If you have anything in the future, Senior Brother, please tell Junior Brother. As long as it is not going to fight, I, Wang Hao, will do my best to finish it. After speaking, Wang Hao added, the main reason is that my strength is too rubbish. If this fails, give Brother Su your losing face. Okay, take the money and leave. Suzanne didn't mean to talk nonsense with him, and said plainly. Wang Hao didn't dare to say more. He put 30,000 spirit stones into the storage ring and was about to leave. He suddenly thought of something and turned around and said, by the way, Brother Su, among those things you asked me to sell, one of them is very special. It is a white sword with icy cold attributes and a slender body. The rank is a high-grade profound weapon. The person who accepted this sword is a bit weird. He asked carefully about the origin of this sword. Of course, I did not mention Brother Su. You made up a reason and left, but I always feel that there is something wrong with that person, not like a normal buyer. Quote. Well, I got it. Su beheaded, collected the spirit stones, and returned to Immortal Cave. In addition, Senior Brother Su, under Baiyun Peak, it seems that someone is waiting for you. Let them wait. Suzanne entered Immortal Cave and closed the gate. The arrival of Cao Mu and others was informed by Chen Chengfeng through the sound transmission note yesterday. But those people belonged to the forces that planned to kill him, and the last Prince Shah Kishan did not have a good impression of him. Therefore, he didn't pay any attention at all, and planned to wait for the completion of the cultivation of Starfire Stream Lightsaber and Star Wuji body before dealing with these tedious things. Icy cold attribute, slender sword body, high-grade profound tool. Recalling Wang Hao's words just now, Suzanne frowned. If I remember correctly, this sword is Yi Yongxuan's sword in the Dark Star Forest. Could it be that the forces of Qingyang Kingdom discovered this sword and wanted to investigate how Yi Yongxuan died? Qingyang Kingdom. There is Yulong Realm. Ichthyosaur territory. When a fish turns into a dragon, if you step through the Ichthyosaur realm, you can transcendent into the holy, and you will never be immortal ever since. Ichthyosaur territory. It is also the strongest combat power among the 15 countries in Tianan. Forget it, it's useless to think so much. First cultivate the first style of Starfire Stream lightsaber to reach its peak and improve combat power. Strong people in the Yulong realm ignore world affairs, and they don't necessarily cross tens of thousands of miles to trouble me for Yi Yongxuan. If it really comes, I am afraid that I can activate the protagonist's aura of immortality. Su Zan shook his head and smiled, continuing to cultivate. Qingyang country. Somewhere within the forbidden area of the palace. A barefoot middle-aged man wearing a cyan robe with long hair scattered and standing in the center. In front of him is a huge picture that is 10 meters high and 3 meters wide. On the painting, there is only a peculiar sun emitting a turquoise light. There is nothing else. After looking at the picture scroll for a while, the man in the green robe suddenly turned around and his eyes fell on the Yuandan realm military officer who had been kneeling there for several hours. The tone was indifferent. Can you investigate it clearly? If you even get revenge and report a mistake, wouldn't I leave Qingyang to make those old guys laugh at death? Senior, don't worry. This Beishui sword is only one in the hands of young Master Yi in the entire Tianan region. Yi Gongzi fell, but the Whitewater sword appeared in the hands of a true disciple of Yuntian Zhanmen, and among the geniuses who went to the Dark Star Forest, only Su Zan had the strength to kill Yi Gongzi. Subordinates dare to pledge their heads. Yi Gongzi must have died by Su Zan's hands. Quote. It turns out that Yi Yongxuan died like this. A trace of killing intent appeared in Li Qingyang's eyes. Although Yi Yongxuan is not suitable to pick up my legacy due to physical reasons, for so many years, I have treated him as an apprentice. Why didn't I ask before killing him? Woolen cloth. What does senior mean? Someone killed your apprentice, what would you do? The subordinate will definitely make that life worse than death. Li Qingyang glanced at the Yuandan realm military officer, coldly said. Never mind if it is better to live than to die, I like it to be clean, so let that Su be cut to death. Yes. The military officer was habitually preparing to leave, and suddenly turned around again, and said in embarrassment, Senior, that Su Zan has achieved the original pill. We are not his opponent. Li Qingyang frowned. The military attaché hurriedly said, Senior, calm down. It's not that I am timid. According to the latest information, Su Zan killed Yun Hengtian in the fish and dragon realm for half a step not long ago. If it is the other half-step Ichthyosaur realm, it is enough. Yun Hengtian inspires the secret technique Zhengyang Zhenjun, and his combat power is the first under the 15 kingdoms Ichthyosaur realm. But in this way, he still lost to Su Zan. That Su Zan is afraid that he is already infinitely close to the Yulong realm. Quote. Infinitely close. Li Qingyang smiled faintly. It's useless to get closer. If you don't become a Ichthyosaur, you won't know the mystery of the Ichthyosaur realm. Since this place is so troublesome, I'll go there myself. But these few days I am at the critical point of insight, Blue Sun Sacred Map, I will go when I am free. During this period of time, don't disturb him. In case he runs away and the world is so big, it will take a lot of energy to find him. Quote. Yes. After the martial arts hall withdrew, the gate of the forbidden area was closed. Li Qingyang's eyes fell on the Whitewater sword placed on the ground, and he sighed. The Su Zan who can kill Yun Zan must also be a peerless genius. I am away from Qingyang's love for talent, but love is more important. There is no other way. In this world, there is another peerless arrogant who is about to fall, which is really touching. Quote. With a wave of his hand, he put the Whitewater sword into the storage space, turned away from Qingyang, and continued to look at the picture scroll. 5 days later, under Baiyun Peak, Cao Mu and others were already waiting madly. How do you wait? What if he closed door training for 1 year, 2 years, or even longer? Yu family patriarch Yu Zhonghai said in a dull voice. Although the other three did not answer the conversation, they all had ugly faces and showed extremely impatient expressions. Although with their cultivation base, even if they stayed for 50 days, they would not die of starvation. But here every day, let those inner disciple jokes, who can stand it? Sha Kishan and Sha Chihai also looked depressed. But they are not those strong, knowing that they don't count as farts. Even though I was depressed in my heart, I still didn't show an expression of impotentness, which made people look at it, very sincere. Yangcheng, sect leader of the Blast Mountain sect, couldn't bear it. He stood up from the ground and looked up at Baiyun Peak. He was about to break through the formation and saw Suzan. Suddenly he stopped as if he saw something special, looking at the sky with some doubts. What is that? Hearing Yangcheng's words, other people also looked there one after another, and all of them suddenly showed surprise expressions. That place above the sky. A cyan light spot appeared. The speed of the light spot is extremely fast, coming towards the Yuntian Sword Gate. That is the Qingyang Demon Fire. No, absolutely impossible. Qingyang Demon Fire is only controlled by the Qingyang Kingdom King and the Li Senior who is above the world. How could they come here? That's right, it's really not quite its Qingyang Demon Fire. Yujiata Elder hadn't finished speaking the Yuzhonghaihua, as the spot of light approached extremely fast. It was indeed a group of turquoise flames, and he cried out in shock. What is that? What a fast flame. The enemy. ... Many disciples also found the turquoise flames above the sky, and their faces changed slightly. In their gaze, that group of blue flames hit the guard gate of the Yuntian Sword Gate. Boom! A huge formation light wall emerges at the place where the turquoise flame hits. A small flame remained on the light wall, and immediately after that, the light flame burned, burning a hole in the light wall of the formation. This is just the beginning. Within a few seconds, the flame spread towards the surroundings at an extremely exaggerated speed. The entire formation, the light wall, was swallowed by flames. The guard gate array no longer exists. Break the battle with one blow. As the guard gate was broken, all elders in Yuntian Janmen were alert. The head Qin Jincheng was standing on the main peak square. His face suddenly changed when he saw this scene. And this time, as soon as the group of green flames closed, one of the middle-aged men was exposed. Standing thousands of meters high in the sky, overlooking the Yuntian Janmen. Leave Qingyang. Oh my god. It's really far from Qingyang. How could Li Qingyang come to our Yuntian Sword Gate? What the hell is he going to do? An elder of the Wei Yuan Dan realm was horrified. It's not that they are too courageous, but that the middle-aged man is standing at the top of the entire Tianan region. Yulong, away from Qingyang. The Yulong realm is a realm that cannot be treated with common sense at all. The Yulong realm is divided into 6 variants. Realm. The first change of the fish and the dragon, innate fetal breath. When you reach this realm, you can stop eating and consume the world. Spiritual qi provides energy for your body. Of course, breakthrough to the ichthyosaur realm, in addition to the biggest feature of spiritual qi, which can swallow the heaven and the earth, the strength is also greatly enhanced. Stepping into the Yulong realm is like crossing a huge gully and coming to another level. But such a strong man suddenly came to Janmen today, and everyone was uneasy. Qin Jincheng's sword flew past, and the cupped hands were 1,000 meters away, and said, "Why are you away from senior today? Hand over Suzan, you live." Li Qingyang glanced at Qin Jincheng and continued, "You only have 10 minutes. After this, if I can't see Suzan, don't blame me for slaughtering the weak and destroying your sword gate. This is the only opportunity I give you ants." Quote. Li Qingyang's words resembled thunder, resounding through the Yuntian sword gate below. Suddenly, everyone turned pale and panicked. Even if they are superstitious about Suzan, they still know what the Yulong realm is. That is not a talent, it can be brought closer. Ha ha ha. Suzan actually offended Li Senior. It's great. The owner of the Yu family, Yu Zhonghai, laughed loudly. Now it's okay, he is dead, what are we doing here? Hurry up, lest we get affected. Yangcheng, the sect leader of the Burst Mountain sect, also nodded and laughed cheerfully. It's really God who helped me. Suzan died, why should I be afraid of my Burst Mountain sect? Ha ha ha. The Valley Master of Yellow Wind Valley turned his eyes and said excitedly, "Maybe the Yuntian Sword Gate will be wiped out in the anger of the senior today. Then we will beat the falling water dog once again. Kill the fish that slipped through the net of Yuntian Sword Gate, and kill them." The female disciple of ***** died to vent the humiliation she has suffered over the past few days. Good. Wonderful. The three of them glanced at each other, all laughed, and then looked at Cao Mu. You won't go. Cao Mu sullened his face and clenched his fist, saying, Yulong, Yulong, if it's someone else, I won't believe it, but Suzan, Suzan. Fool, wait to die. Let's go. The three sneered and flew away. At this time, Cao Mu said the remaining words, but Suzan, he is no one else. Anyway, they are all ready to die. If this time Suzan really defeated Li Qingyang, but he flees, Zhengyang sect, I am afraid that he will be destroyed soon. That being the case, then I, Cao Mu, took AF King bet on this life. Cao Mu gritted his teeth and stared at Bai Yunfeng, motionless. The Prince Sha Qishan was about to escape, but was caught by Sha Qihai. Nine brother, what are you doing? Dage, do you believe me? Sha Qihai recalled the Dark Star Forest. Suzan was invincible, and when he thought of killing Yun Hengtian not long ago, his eyes were firm and said, I don't care what fish and dragon realm is, I tell you, Suzan can't die. Li Qingyang is here, Suzan can't die. Are you nervous? Then you go. But this time is the best chance to get Suzan's forgiveness. If you don't want it, then forget it. Sha Qihai shook his head. This. Sha Qishan looked at the Li Qingyang in the sky, hesitated for half a minute, and finally sat down and cursed. What's so special? I thought about it, or Suzan is more terrifying. Just now, in the immortal cave on the 17th of Baiyun Peak. Suzan opened his eyes suddenly, looking at Li Qingyang above the sky, he whispered in a low voice. The sword tester has finally come. Taking a deep breath, Suzan stood up from the ground. In the past 10 days of hard work, his sparkle and lightsaberism has reached its peak, and the Star Promise body has also reached its peak. Being able to perform such a fast ascension, apart from the Dawson Star divine body and the aura of comprehension, and the aura of Kendo, the tempering of the sacred pool of the Wyu kingdom and the attainment of the Yuandan realm by its own cultivation base are all key elements in it. Cultivation base ascension. The previous martial skill cultivation will naturally be easier. The miniature spirit vein orb in his hand was put into the storage space, and a starlight flew out from the center of Suzan's eyebrows. The Dahi Star Sword flew up and down around him. With his cultivation base ascension, the time of pregnancy in the Purple Mansion has increased, and the Dahi Star Sword has become more psychic. Even today's Dahi Star Sword has a very simple self-awareness. Of course, Valent is also more powerful. Suzan's gaze fell on the Dari Star Sword, smiled slightly, and walked towards the gate of Immortal Cave. Go, let me kill. A word rang, the Dari Star Sword buzzed, the starlight skyrocketed, and seemed extremely excited, and followed Suzan. Just when Suzan came outside Immortal Cave and looked straight at Li Qingyang. Li Qingyang was also very keenly aware, and looked at him with a pair of eyes. For such a young Yuandan realm, such a psychic natal sword, you are Suzan. As the voice of Li Qingyang sounded, countless people looked towards Baiyun Peak. Although they couldn't see Suzan's figure, they still stared tightly at Baiyun Peak, the position of Immortal Cave on the 17th, very nervously. Are you from Qingyang country? Suzan stepped on the Shenfeng boat and appeared in the sky a kilometer away from Qingyang, faintly blocking Qin Jincheng behind him. Suzan, why did you show up? You know. I know. Suzan glanced at the anxious Qin Jincheng, shook his head and said, could it be that if I hide, he can't find me if I don't come out? Sure enough, the vision of genius is higher than that of ordinary ants, knowing that hiding is useless. Li Qingyang smiled faintly. It's a pity that the unusual ants are still ants. Since you take the initiative to appear, then I will give you a decent chance to die, self-determination. When this sentence sounded, many people were shocked. Chen Chengfeng shouted in shock. Suzan, don't listen to his nonsense. Chen Elder, aren't you nonsense? Suzan looked a little speechless at Chen Chengfeng above the mountain peak not far away. If someone tells me to die, I will die. Am I such a fool? Speaking of. Halfway through, Suzan's gaze fell on Li Qingyang, who was already a little angry. Did you cultivation or some evil cultivation technique ruin your brain cultivation? If you haven't beaten it yet, you call me self-decision. Why don't you beg me? Abolish the cultivation base and fight with you. You really don't want to face. You. Li Qingyang was furious, and green light appeared in his eyes. Since I made myself into the Yulong realm, no one has dared to talk to me like this for hundreds of years, you. Others may be pitiful. You are a fool, and deliberately say something nice to you. You wanna die. Li Qingyang blasted out with a fist. This punch, without any skill, is pure true power. But at the moment when this true essence power appeared, the space in front immediately caused a gust of wind. The punch that was enough to destroy the mountain rushed out. Qin Jincheng's complexion changed slightly. Just about to rush up to block this strike, he saw the starlight of the Dari Star Sword who had been following Su Zan flashing directly into the boxing force. Boom. Fist strength dissipated. Dahi Star Sword continued to move forward without stopping, shooting towards Li Qingyang. Roll. With a wave of Li Qingyang's sleeves, a ray of green flame bombarded the sword body of the Dari Star Sword. Dari Star Sword buzzed and returned to Su Zan's hands. Li Qingyang's eyes narrowed slightly. Is this what you are capable of? Today I have a hard time going out, so I will give you a chance. Come on, let me see what you know. I am also very curious. Where is the limit? Su Zan held the Dari Star Sword in his hand, felt the message sent back by the Dari Star Sword, and had a rough estimate of Li Qingyang's strength. After that, he no longer hesitated, and directly inspired Dahi Star's divine body. A round of golden sun emerges. The night star shrouded above. Seeing this scene, many Janman disciples were excited. Senior brother Sus' divine body is aroused. Divine body. But the opponent is a strong player in the Yulong realm. No matter how powerful the divine body is, you can't let a person fight the Yulong realm in the early stage of the Yuandan realm, right? Makes sense. Those people had just given birth to a little hope. After thinking about it, it was shattered again. Realm gap is too big. But soon after Su Zan cut out the dazzling galaxy cluster-like sword chi, they changed their minds. Above the sky, the star fire streamer sword chi is cut out from Su Zan's hand in the state of divine body. The terrifying sword intent was released instantly with sword chi, forming a big star river above the Qingyang. Sword intent is fine. And this swordsmanship. The pupils away from Qingyang shrank slightly, and he dared not be careless in his heart. His body was full of true essence, and he slapped his palm towards sword chi. A huge flame palm of 100 meters long was formed, exuding a scorching breath and padded sword chi. That's the real fire big mudra. It's Li Qingyang's famous palm technique. It is rumored that before Qingyang has achieved the Yulong realm, he has used this palm technique to kill several top powerhouses in the Yulong realm. Su Zan, can Su Zan be able to handle it? Qin Jincheng stood on the great hall of the main peak, clenching his fists. If Su Zan is not defeated, I will release Sword Chi, who has been in charge of the Yuntian spirit sword for the past generations, and it also includes agreeing to be the founder of the Yulong realm. A sword chi released instantly, presumably it can stop Qingyang from leaving Qingyang for a while. By then, you will do your best to cover Su Zan's departure, release those captive demonic beasts, open formation, and create chaos. There may not be no chance. Quote. Brotherhead, you want it. Chen Chengfeng was startled, and looked at Qin Jincheng, but couldn't speak anymore. Yuntian spirit sword is the sword of Yuntian sword gate inheritance, naturally powerful. But when sword chi was released all the time, he was waiting to die when he went to stop the Qin Jin city from Qingyang. It didn't take long for the four powers to lose, and Qingyang came, and I wanted to kill Su Zan aside. Junior brother, can't you tell? He simply came for our entire Yuntian sword gate. After Sus' death, our Yuntian sword gate is bound to die. Now, only Su Zan survives. We Yuntian Janmen have the hope of revival. Quote. As Qin Jincheng said, he suddenly smiled. In fact, it doesn't have to be this way. Su Zan hasn't lost yet. Even so, everyone can tell that Qin Jincheng doesn't hold much hope. Although he believes in Su Zan's strength very much, the three words, Yulong realm, have been told since he came into contact with the cultivation that they are the strongest in the south of the sky, and no one can resist it. Over time, the fish and dragon realm is in the sky. The concept that south is invincible has penetrated the bone. Like Qin Jincheng, Chen Chengfeng and others were looking forward to Su Zan's victory, but at the same time, they felt that this hope was too slim. Among the peaks of the Sword Gate, the top three powers who have not yet run far are also a little moved when they see Flame Palm Print and Galaxy Cluster Sword Chi. Is that Su Zan's Sword Chi? It's really scary. No wonder Yun Hengtian was killed by him. Even if he is infinitely close to the Yulong realm, but he is not the Yulong realm, it is impossible to win. That's right, I can't think of it. I can still see Suzan being bombarded and killed today. It's so FK. The sect leader of the Blast Mountain sect hadn't finished speaking yet, and seeing the scene ahead clearly, his face was suddenly confused, and the whole person was dumbfounded. I saw it. In the sky ahead, the galaxy cluster falls. The palm of the real fire collapsed, and the strongman of the Yulong realm, known as the Invincible in the southern part of the sky, left Qingyang's body with blue light, and was blasted from the sky by the galaxy cluster. Boom. His body smashed into a mountain peak, the next moment. Hundreds of meters high mountain, broken. How is this possible? That's Yulong realm. Yu family patriarch Yu Zhonghai screamed, his face full of disbelief. The other two also looked dumbfounded. Didn't it mean that it's impossible for the Yuandan realm to defeat the Yulong realm? It's not that the Yulong realm is a transition from the fish to the dragon, from the ordinary to the sacred realm, which is beyond the imagination of mortals, is it a stance of crushing the Yuandan realm? But what is going on? After the confusion, fear began to develop in their hearts, and their legs trembled a little. Suzan is so strong. One sword to galaxy cluster, one sword to defeat the ichthyosaur. If they left, Suzan came to the door, wouldn't it be the only part of the door to be destroyed? Or, shall we go back? Wait, I don't believe it. Yulong realm can be defeated so easily. Yes, Yulong realm, that is Yulong realm. The three exchanged a few words and looked at them unwillingly. At this time, 100,000 disciples of Yuntian Janman are already full of enthusiasm. Senior brother Su is amazing. Senior brother Su hasn't gotten started for less than 2 months, and he can already defeat the top powerhouse in the southern Tianan 15 kingdoms. Whoever tells me that senior brother Su can't do it, don't blame him with a punch. Brother Su. Ha ha ha. How lucky I am, Luan Jian. I actually tried sword technique with brother Su. From now on I will play for a lifetime. Senior Luan, I think it is a miracle that you can still survive when you challenge senior brother Su. Luan Jian, Qin Jincheng, Chen Changfeng and a group of elders were also silly. With the Yuandan early stage realm, defeating the ichthyosaurs with one sword, is this really a human being? But for Suzan, although it is a bit outrageous, it doesn't seem to be so unbelievable when he thinks of those things in the past. Chen Changfeng laughed openly. Senior brother, I really spent my life's luck to pick up such a perverted Suzan from the place where the birds don't shit. Qin Jincheng smiled slightly, just about to speak, when he saw the blue-green light emerging from the broken mountain peak, his smile disappeared, and his eyes became solemn. Very good. Unexpectedly, your combat power has exceeded my greatest expectations of you. Among the shattered mountain peaks, Li Qingyang's cyan robe lit up with inscriptions, and the light intertwined, turning into a shield to cover him. Walking out of the gravel, stepping away from Qingyang, his body reappeared at an altitude of more than 1,000 meters. A pair of eyes looked at Suzan with killing intent. I was really careless just now. Now, if you have succeeded, I will leave Qingyang. Opponent's qualifications. Next. Can you talk less bullshit? Could it be that the special ability of the Yulong realm is to talk bullshit all the time? Suzan said impatiently, and then rushed directly to Li Qingyang. Funny. Then let you see the gap between us. Li Qingyang was also furious. His brows flashed, the sword of life fell into his hand, and he slashed towards Suzan. Call. With the sword from Li Qingyang, countless blue-green flames were born in the space ahead. Those flames intertwined and turned into a sea of flames, sweeping towards Suzan. Starfire streaming lightsaber is used to the extreme. Suzan's whole person is like a star, smashing into the sea of flames. Immediately afterwards, starlight sword marks appeared, and in the sea of fire, a path full of stars was opened by Suzan. Two swords cut each other. Above the sky, a shock wave visible to the naked eye is emitted. Suzan and Li Qingyang backed away a certain distance. Immediately afterwards, it was the second collision. The third time, the fourth time. 1,000 meters away from Qingyang, and landing on the top of a mountain, it seems that the clouds are light and the wind is light, and there is already a storm in my heart. Originally thought that with his vigorous background, even if Suzan could fight him for a while, but after a few times, the backlog of injuries in his body would soon be defeated. But now, even he is full of blood, it is difficult to suppress. Suzanne actually has nothing to do. He even got more and more energetic. What the hell is this? Seeing that Suzanne's body was covered with starlight, he rushed towards him again, and Li Qingyang let out a cold snort. Ignorance ants. Not to mention, let you see the power of my Qingyang burning the sky. As soon as the voice fell, a cyan sun appeared behind Qingyang. As soon as the cyan sun appeared, the 100,000 disciples below felt that they were surrounded by flames. What is this? It can't be extinguished. What kind of flame is this? This is not fire, this is refining the gods and manifesting the saints. It is a means that can only be used by people with strong mental energy. This is fake. But, why do I feel my whole person is suffering from burning pain? No way, I feel like I'm going to die. ... A series of horrified voices sounded. Not only these low-level disciples of cultivation base, but even elder of the Yuan Dan realm, their expressions have changed drastically. Qin Jincheng's true essence was violent, and his voice spread. That is the Qingyang demon fire of Qingyang kingdom. It is a means of refining the gods and showing the sacredness. Don't look at it, calm your mind. As Qin Jincheng's words sounded, disciples followed suit. If you don't watch that round of Qingyang, although you will still be affected, it is clearly within a tolerable range. Brotherhead, we are only affected, and Suzanne, as the concentrated object of Li Qingyang's refining of the gods, is afraid that we will bear 10 times, 100 times. How is this good? You and I are on the left and right, attacking Li Qingyang, distracting him to deal with us, unable to concentrate, and the power of refining the gods will naturally be greatly weakened. By then wait. Su cut him, it seems that he will not be affected. Quote. As soon as Chen Chengfeng and Qin Jincheng were about to take a shot, they saw that Suzanne didn't turn around at all, but faced Qingyang and walked away. How can this be? A touch of horror appeared in Li Qingyang's eyes. His strongest trump card, refining the gods, is actually invalid to Suzanne. Do not. It will never be like this. It must be that Suzanne has some kind of secret method or special treasure, temporarily resisting it. He can't last long. Moreover, as the distance gets closer, he will be more affected. Thinking like this, Li Qingyang gritted his teeth, closed his eyes, and maximized mental energy. That round of cyan sun gushed out countless cyan flames, trying to burn the sky and boil the sea. His thoughts quickly changed completely. Feeling the arrival of the galaxy cluster soared intent above, Li Qingyang unwillingly put away the supernatural powers of refining the gods, mobilizing all the true essences and injecting them into the blue robes to form a powerful defense. Boom. Cut down with one sword. Cracks appeared away from Qingyang's location. The cyan robe wailed, and the light of those inscriptions dimmed rapidly. Puff. A mouthful of blood was spit out from his mouth. Qingyang looked at Suzanne, who was less than 100 meters in front of him, clenched his fists, and screamed frantically, how did you resist the Qingyang demon fire I visualized? Yes, even in the Yulong realm, it is impossible not to be unaffected at all. You are just a pill, so why can you do this? Why? Suzanne looked at Li Qingyang with a dumb look. Do you think that posing there, shouting, and putting on some green sun, can scare me? I'm not scared. Are you okay with your brain? Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. Welcome to Fantasy Audiobook. I have a trillion protagonist Halo. Chapter 91. Puff. Another mouthful of blood was spit out. Li Qingyang's brain buzzed, and the injuries that had been suppressed broke out again. Before that, he had never dreamed of it. Someone would describe his strongest trump card in the Yulong realm as a scary thing to make a green sun. Green sun. I green your uncle. What a special refining and holy manifestation. Refining the gods and manifesting the saints do not understand. A means to directly attack the enemy's soul. My strongest method, have you just come over here like this? Li Qingyang felt her mentality collapsed. Seeing that Suzanne was about to slash over, he quickly said, wait. This is a complete misunderstanding. Misunderstand? Suzanne said. What misunderstanding? Li Qingyang squeezed a smile. At first, I thought Yi Yongxuan was killed by you, but after some investigations today, I realized that it has nothing to do with you at all. I made a mistake. Li Qingyang's voice spurred his true essence, deliberately spread out, so that everyone below could hear it. This also tells Yun Tian Janman. Everyone regards peace as the most important thing, so stop fighting. Hearing these words, many disciples of Janman breathed a sigh of relief and relieved. Qin Jincheng and the others also stretched their eyebrows. Although it seems that Suzan has the upper hand, who knows if there is any special method for the strongman in the Yulong realm. Cannot fight, it is best not to fight. Anyway, Suzan's talent heaven-defying, breakthrough fish dragon realm is estimated to not be too long, then go to Li Qingyang to settle accounts, that will be the best. Li Qingyang looked at Suzan, waiting for his answer. By saying so, it is equivalent to giving Suzan a step down, and at the same time he is also good to leave, I believe Suzan should be. But Yi Yongxuan was indeed killed by me. Suzan's voice sounded, and Li Qingyang was stunned. The atmosphere became a little awkward. Then, forget it. How can I take care of these little things in the dignified Yulong realm? I will leave today. Li Qingyang looked very embarrassed and felt insulted. Perceiving the injuries in his body and Suzan's near-perfect state, he had to grit his teeth, intending to endure it for a while and take a step back. Did I let you go? Suzan looked at Li Qingyang, who had turned and fled. The star of Dari's star sword flashed, and a sword slashed out. Don't go too far. You can't understand the details of the practitioner in the Yulong realm. Then let me see, where is your background? Suzan didn't mind the warning of Li Qingyang's anger at all. Fighting with Li Qingyang, he could feel that his understanding of sparkle swordsmanship had deepened again. How can such a good sword tester just leave? No matter how good you are, but in the primordial core realm, the number of true essences is less than 1/10 of mine, so let's see who runs out of true essences first. Li Qingyang was also completely enraged, gritted his teeth, took a desperate posture, and fought Suzan again. Rumble. Rocks are cracking everywhere. Above the sky, fierce battles continued. Half an hour has passed, and the battle has not stopped. Chen Chengfeng was surprised. Whether it is Li Qingyang or Suzan, it is the way of cultivation. No one specializes in defense. It stands to reason that the battle between them should be over soon, and they can actually fight like this. Long. The other elders were also puzzled. Yeah, it's a bit weird to say. A few times, I felt that Suzan had a chance to kill Li Qingyang, but he unexpectedly missed it. Suzan's talent is invincible, and his strength is extremely high, but after all, he has insufficient combat experience and making mistakes is normal. It's a pity, if I have Suzan's strength, I must have killed Li Qingyang. Hearing those elders' voices, Qin Jincheng glanced at them and smiled. Can't you tell that Suzan is practicing sword practice? Those elders froze for a moment, and they all took a breath of cold air when they reacted. Practicing swords with strong players in the Yulong realm, this is no one. At this time, Li Qingyang was desperate. I thought that with his vigorous true essence, Suzan could be dragged to death. But when he saw that Suzan took out a handful of medicine pill that recovered his true essence and threw the jelly bean into his mouth, and then recovered his true essence at a speed visible to the naked eye, he was completely confused. It's not that he doesn't have medicine pill. Even his medicine pill is more than Suzan's, better than Suzan's. But the problem is, he has no time to refining. It's a fart. He was really dumbfounded at operations like Suzan's fast refining while fighting. I feel that the previous perceptions of practitioner are wrong. Another half hour passed. Continuously using many martial arts, coupled with the more and more injuries in the body, Li Qingyang finally gave birth to fear. Boom. Another sword. He fell from the sky to the ground, spitting out a mouthful of blood. Seeing that Suzan's next sword was about to come, Li Qingyang shouted in horror, "Stop! Stop fighting! Stop fighting!" In response to him, it was a spark sword chi. Boom. After Li Qingyang barely resisted this sword, the defensive cyan robe on his body was completely turned into fragments and flying all over the sky. His hair was messy, his mouth was full of blood, and he was embarrassed. No, don't kill me. I am willing to hand over the Qingyang sacred map to you. Ha! Blue Sun sacred map. Feeling that Li Qingyang could no longer be used as a grindstone, Suzan, who had just prepared to smash him with a sword, stopped. Yes, sacred map of Qingyang. Like grabbing a straw, Li Qingyang quickly said, "The sacred map of Qingyang is the treasure of our Qingyang country. You can cultivation practitioner mental energy. If you can insight into the mysterious mood of the sacred map, you can visualize the magical fire of Qingyang. Kill the enemy. Infinite power. However, the Qingyang sacred map has special restrictions. Unless it is thoroughly insightful, it cannot be collected and taken away, so you still need to follow me. Quote. A treasure in mental energy. Su Zan pondered. Mental energy treasures are very rare in Tiannan, this is the first time he has encountered them. Moreover, the cyan sun that had just been contemplated by Qingyang wasn't ineffective for him. The pain that burns the soul is not without it, but under the effect of the heart aura, even if he is very painful, he still maintains a clear mind and is not disturbed. But in this world, only he has a Xinxing aura. This method, if learned, is not useless. As for how to deal with Li Qingyang, wait until the Qingyang sacred map is obtained, and then deal with it. Thinking like this, Su Zan nodded. Okay, you wait at Jianmen for a day, and tomorrow I will follow you to Qingyang country to get the Qingyang sacred picture. After speaking, Su Zan ended his divine body state and withdrew the Dahi star sword. In fact, maintaining the state of the divine body for more than an hour is also his current limit. If Qingyang didn't talk about the Qingyang sacred map, he would definitely end the battle with one sword. Glancing at the bottom, Su Zan came to the bottom of Baiyun Peak. Before he could speak, Cao Mu knelt down respectfully and said with a trembling voice, Zhengyangzong Cao Mu, come here specially to apologize for what I have committed by Zhengyangzong. At this moment, the three half-step Yulong realm powerhouses of the other three major forces also rushed in fear, and knelt down without saying a word. The sect leader of the Boom Mountain sect Yangcheng came to apologize and beg Master Su forgiveness. I am the owner of the Yu family, and the Yu family participated in the siege of Su Gongzi. That is completely the decision made by Elder behind my back. Please learn from Su Gongzi. Shu Wu, the owner of the Yellow Wind Valley, asks young Master Su for forgiveness. No need to say more. Su Zan said calmly. What you mean, Elder Miao told me, you don't want to be a vassala. Do not. Before Su Zan finished speaking, Cao Mu had already raised his head suddenly, with shock, admiration, fear and even admiration in his eyes. I'm Zhengyang sect. I am willing to follow Master Su, and I will never leave. It's not that you don't want to be a vassal, what the hell is this? Su Zan was stunned for a moment, and looked at Qin Jincheng, Chen Chengfeng and others who had just landed on the ground. The latter was also taken aback when he heard what Cao Mu said. Qin Jincheng said, Cao Mu, didn't you say that you don't want to be a vassal of my sword? Cao Mu smiled. That's because I was too ignorant before. I see Master Su's peerless posture today, I believe it will not be long before the entire Tiannan will respect Master Su. My Zhengyang sect, I had the wrong first. Follow Master Su and do things for Su, that can also make up for the sins committed by my Zhengyang sect. Quote. After speaking, Cao Mu waited for Su Zan's reply. Just like when he came, he was uneasy. However, when he came to Baiyun Peak, he was worried that Su Zan would not agree to his unwillingness to become a vassal request. Now, I'm afraid that Su Zan won't accept Zhengyang sect. After seeing Su Zan Yi Yuan Dan realm, pressing away from Qingyang, he was convinced. Following this kind of peerless powerhouse, Zhengyang sect will not only not weaken, but will quickly become stronger. Moreover, if you don't become a vassal, I am afraid that the only way to go is to destroy the door. Seeing Cao Mu change his mouth, people from the other three major forces also nodded one after another. I Burst the Mountain sect agreed to become a vassal. My home is too. Me Wangfengu too. This scene made those elders stunned. Isn't this changing face too fast? Su Zan glanced at those people, and said lightly, you want to become vassals of Yuntian sword sect, yes, but except for the Zhengyang sect people, the three of you, self-destroy the cultivation base, and then you can leave, sword sect. Soon, someone will be sent to take over and manage your respective forces. What? The old man is a cultivation base, and he has worked hard for more than 100 years. He wants me to abolish the cultivation base. It's better to kill me. As soon as Bakushan Zongyangcheng heard this, he shouted. Good. Su Zan nodded, and the extreme sun sword appeared in his hand, using spark-streaming light swordsmanship, and slashed out with a single sword. No, I woulda. Yangcheng obviously didn't expect Su Zan to be so direct. He didn't say a word. When he regretted it, it was already too late. In front of the peaked starfire streaming light swordsmanship, he was killed by a single sword. What about you? Suzan looked at the other two. The two half-step strongmen of the Yulong realm looked at each other, and they all saw the despair in each other's eyes. For a practitioner, abolishing cultivation base is not much different from death. But it's better than dead. I would. Master Xie Su is forgiving. The two felt the killing intent emerging from Suzan's body, their bodies trembled, and they did not dare to delay, they directly smashed Dantian Qi Si with their true essence. Yuan Dan is broken. Cultivation base is lost. The two slumped to the ground, enduring the tremendous pain caused by the abolition of cultivation base, while facing various situations after the abolition of cultivation base. People who used to treat them respectfully will humiliate them. Those who listen to them will be dismissive. As for those who have enemies, will kill them. After that, they must hide their names and steal their lives. Suzan looked at their miserable appearance, and his heart was calm. Although he didn't pay attention to these people deliberately, he still glanced a few times. Except for Cao Mu, who had not moved under Baiyun Peak, the other three had left. It's nothing more than leaving, still watching the battle from a distance, obviously holding the idea that Yuntian Zhanmen was beaten to pieces by Li Qingyang and then fell into the pit. Although the three of them are now surrendered because of fear, they still need to bear the consequences after all. Thank you, young Master Su. Cao Mu's heart trembled and said respectfully. At this time, he was extremely grateful that he chose to believe in Suzan. Otherwise, the cultivation base on the ground would be abandoned, and the painful and devastated person should be Cao Mu. Thinking of this, Cao Muho was terrified. Suzan, speaking of it, you are really good. Qin Jincheng was also a little excited. Defeat the Yulong realm with the Yuan Dan realm early stage. It's too strong. Suzan shook his head. It's not that I am strong, but the opponent is too weak. Li Qingyang, who was standing by, heard these words and glanced at Suzan. Is I too weak? I think you are too perverted, right? A few steps away from Qingyang silently, in case he was hurt by Suzan's words and caused his body injuries to erupt. Those elders were also shocked when they heard this. Isn't it strong in Ichthyosaur? Then, isn't it rubbish for us in the primordial pill realm? The elders felt a little frustrated in their hearts. Okay, head, Chen Elder, if nothing else, I plan to take a bath, eat a meal and sleep well, so that I can refresh myself and go to Qingyang country tomorrow. Suzan looked at Qin Jin Chengdao. There is nothing else. I will deal with the matter of taking over these forces soon. You can cultivate with peace of mind, but Suzan, when you go to Qingyang country, you still have to be more careful. I know. Suzan nodded. Brother Su, no, Su Senior. Until this time, seeing that Suzan had dealt with important matters, Sha Qihai dared to bring Sha Kishan over. Brother Sha. Suzan smiled and said, don't call it senior. Speaking of which, I am only 16 this year, so I am called 60. 16A. Hearing these two words, the people around me felt sigh again. When they were 16, they were still in Qixi, Ningyuan, and at most they were soldiers. And Suzan had already begun to sling the Yulong realm. This is not the scariest. The most terrifying thing is that this guy still opened his veins 2 months ago. People are more angry than people. Qin Jincheng, Chen Changfeng and others sighed and left one after another. Sha Qihai was also taken aback by Sus, 16. After watching today's battle, if Suzan didn't say anything, he would almost treat Suzan as an old monster who had cultivated for hundreds of years. No way, today's Suzan is really too strong, so he can't help but give birth to this illusion. Then I will continue to call a Brother Sua. Speaking of it, when I was in the Dark Star Forest, I knew that Brother Su, you are a real dragon on Earth, and you will become a great weapon in the future. But I never expected it. Brother Su, your growth rate has reached this point. Sha Qihai exclaimed, and immediately said, but Brother Su, coming today, there is indeed something to ask Brother Su. Dage once offended Brother Su. Because I didn't get your forgiveness from Brother Su, I couldn't sleep at night. You sincerely apologize. The voice just fell. Sha Kishan hurried up, holding the heavy Junwu sword in both hands, kneeling on one knee, and respectfully said, Master Su, this is my royal family's Junwu sword. It represents my sincerity. Please accept it. Junwu sword. Suzan's eyes fell on that sword. This is a heavy sword, 4 fingers wide. Although it hasn't been out of its sheath, the overbearing meaning has already been leaked out. Stretching out a hand, he took the Jungwoo sword, and Suzan drew the sword out of its sheath. Jung. A clear sword sounded. With the injection of his true essence, above the sword's edge, tiny golden sword chi was born. Suzan held the sword and waved it casually, feeling the various inscriptions and the material of the sword body, and he showed a satisfied look. This sword is much stronger than the Extreme Sun sword. And after stimulating the Juhua inscription, it can reach up to 5 meters in length. In the future, if you are tired, you can lie down with the sword, which is very spacious. I accepted this sword. Actually, you don't need to come over. I didn't plan to do anything to you. Throwing the Junwoo sword into the storage ring, Suzan confronted Shachi Heavenly Dao. It's my own inner anxiety. It's definitely not because of you, Master Su. When Sha Kishin heard this, he finally breathed a sigh of relief and said in a sincere manner. Well, that's it, don't talk about it anymore. Suzan nodded and looked at Li Qingyang. Don't be here, you will scare others, just find a mountain to rest, and come back to Baiyun Peak tomorrow to wait for me. Hearing Suzan's commanding tone, Li Qingyang was annoyed and clenched his fist. But when he thought of the strength of Suzan just now, his fist loosened again, and he responded, okay. Having resolved everything, Suzan walked towards Baiyun Peak. Seeing Suzan walking away, Sha Kishin was finally completely relieved. Dage, hear that? Sha Qihai smiled and said. I said that Brother Su is generous, even if you don't give him the true martial sword, he won't really come to you to settle the account. How is it now, do you regret it? Regret. Sha Kishin shook his head repeatedly. I will regret it if I don't come. With the strength that Suzan has shown today, let alone a true martial arts sword, even if it is 10, I will never regret it if it is given to him to get his personal forgiveness. A fierce man who can even kill in the Yulong realm. You said that if you change to you, and offend such a fierce man, can you sleep at night without his personal forgiveness? Quote. That's also. Sha Qihai nodded as he looked at Suzan who was going away. Let's go. Tell your father about today's affairs, and in the future, our royal family will treat Yuntian Janman, maybe we have to change a posture. Sha Kishin said in his mouth, leaving with Sha Qihai. At this moment, Suzan had just walked to the Baiyun Peak Stone Road. Brother Su is so handsome. Brother Su is too fierce. Brother Su, look at me, look at me. ... Countless sword sect disciples flooded in like a tide, and their expressions were extremely excited, and some female disciples had begun to show their faces with a passionate infatuation. Suzan took a look, and after seeing the fanatical posture of those female disciples barely taking off their clothes, he speeded up, tapped his toes, and swept over Baiyun Peak. Too frightening. There are so many female disciples. It's even hard to stand up even if it's a Xinxing aura. It didn't take long to return to Immortal Cave on the 17th. Chen Changfeng is here. Suzan, this is a treasure brought by the 4 major forces for peace. Some of the elixir seeds that can be cultivated are handed over to Elder, who is in charge of the sundries at Janman, and the others are here. Suzan shook his head. Since it is a treasure-seeking piece from the Sword Sect, let's go to the Sword Sect. Suzan, don't shirk it. If it weren't for you, they would still beg for peace. They would have beaten us Yuntian Janman to death and alive. You deserve it. Chen Changfeng smiled. Furthermore, you have made a great contribution to the swordsman by completing the sword technique of the swordsman in the past. This is what you deserve. Okay, I'll accept it. Suzan did not continue to shirk either. After chatting for a few words, Chen Changfeng left, and his eyes fell on the treasures. The first one is the secret technique of Zhengyang School, Zhengyang True Body. Suzan took a look at Jade's slip curiously, and then lost interest. This mystery-breaking technique actually had to be used at the cost of longevity, and after it was used, it would be extremely debilitated for a long time. The side effects are too great, and judging from Yun Hengtian's example, this secret technique is not that good. Thinking in his mind, Suzan continued to check other treasures. The second treasure is a blue cloud pill that can quickly increase the practitioner cultivation base of the Yuan Dan realm. Suzan has also heard of this kind of spirit pill. It is very rare. With his current realm, if he refines this pill and cultivates for a few days, he will almost reach the middle stage of the Yuan Dan realm. The third treasure is a scarlet bracelet called Xuanwo bracelet. Can release monstrous flames to kill the enemy. After checking all the three treasures, Suzan ate a meal, took a bath, and lay down in the yard to sleep for a while. He didn't start cultivation until night fell. The miniature spirit vessel orb was aroused, and immediately, the spiritual chi in the immortal cave he was in increased tenfold. That Qingyan pill was swallowed by him. Above the sky, a little bit of starlight gleamed and blended into his body. In this case, his cultivation base is also growing rapidly. The second day, that Qingyan Dan was completely refined, and Suzan's cultivation base was already very close to the middle stage of the Yuan Dan realm. Walking down Baiyun Peak, Li Qingyang was already waiting there. After a few simple exchanges, he rose from Qingyang Yukong. Suzan stepped on the Shenfengzhou and followed him towards Qingyang Kingdom. Qingyang Country. Royal Palace. As one of the 4 powers among the 15 countries in southern China, the Qingyang King's Palace is also larger than the Xia King's Palace, and its formation is complicated, and the masters are deeply hidden. Inside the Great Hall of the Royal Palace, King Qingyang, who has reached the half-step ichthyosaur realm in cultivation base, is reading the memorial. Your Majesty. Back from Senior. At this moment, a chief eunuch who had reached the level of the Yuan Dan realm walked into the Great Hall and knelt on the ground respectfully. Oh, it's so fast. I thought I was finally able to go out and go shopping when I was away from Senior, and I would play for some time. King Qingyang smiled, and immediately said, since Li Senior is back, Suzan from Xia country is probably dead already. Wonderful. Such geniuses are beyond my Qingyang country, so they should die. Your Majesty. The old slave took a long look, and behind Senior was a young man who seemed to be Suzan, the god body Tianzhao who recently became famous for Tianan. Brought it back. King Qingyang was stunned for a moment. Could it be that Li Senior is looking at the talent of this child and accepting him as an apprentice? This old slave doesn't know it, but I think it's probably too. Otherwise, how to explain that Suzan is still alive in this world? The nearby eunuch chuckled. But this is the blessing of our Qingyang country. Suzan is a true god, and the talent of the 15 kingdoms in the southern part of the sky is recognized as the strongest talent. If we serve our Qingyang country in the future, it is also a great help to you, Your Majesty. That's true too. King Qingyang smiled happily. If that's the case, why don't I worry about Qingyang? Let's go. Let the lonely go to meet the senior. Yes. The two walked out of the great hall. Soon, they met Li Qingyang and Suzan in a square. King Qingyang bowed and said, leave senior. Li Qingyang responded. Suzan's gaze fell on King Qingyang's robe, and he said, you are King Qingyang. I heard Li Qingyang say that to go to inside Qingyang sacred map, you need a special key. In that case, then just lead the way. King Qingyang froze for a moment, looked at Suzan, and said furiously, presumptuous. Even if you worship Li Senior as a teacher, you can despise Gu, but how do you dare to call Li Senior? I don't know how to live or die. Hurry up and apologize to Li Senior. Quote. This statement came out. Li Qingyang, who was still calm at first, was suddenly startled, thinking of the horrible consequences that annoyed Suzan might bring. He only felt that the hair was terrifying. Snapped. Li Qingyang was very angry, and slapped his slap on the face of King Qingyang, who was second only to him in the Qingyang kingdom. In the latter's state of stubbornness, he roared. What are you? Dare to talk to young Master Su like this? You are presumptuous. Hearing what Li Qingyang said, Qingyang Wang Ningheng and the eunuch who was close to him, as well as the court ladies who were neatly arranged on both sides to welcome Li Qingyang, were all dumbfounded. Li Qingyang is the #1 master of their Qingyang country, and even Qingyang country changed its name to Qingyang, based on the name of Li Qingyang during the incident 60 years ago. It can be said that he is the belief of the entire Qingyang country. Whether it is the king of Qingyang or the trafficker, no one knows, but now, Li Qingyang will slap the king of Qingyang directly for someone from another country. Moreover, if this person from another country is another strongman in the Yulong realm, Suzan is just a Yuandan realm. The more he thought about it, the more puzzled Qingyang Wang Ningheng was, and even dissatisfied and angry. He is also the king of Qingyang country anyway. he was slapped in front of his face, and his face was lost, and he was a laughingstock for the people of the world. If it weren't for worrying about Li Qingyang's strength, he had already turned his face on the spot. Lai Sr. Lonely is also the king of a country anyhow. You. The king of a country. Li Qingyang sneered. Qingyang country, whoever I let be the king is the king. I chose you back then. Do you really take yourself seriously? Why don't you apologize to young Master Su? Solitaria A. Qingyang Wang Ningheng's forehead bounced with blue veins, took a deep breath, and cupped hands towards Su. I was rude, please forgive Master Su. It's okay. Hurry up and take me to Insight Qingyang Shengtu, I don't want to waste time. Su Zan said indifferently. Thissa A. Qingyang Wang Ningheng looked at Li Qingyang. Li Qingyang said, the meaning of young Master Su is what I meant. You can do whatever he tells you to do. Yes. Qingyang Wang Ningheng was shocked, bowed his head and agreed. He raised his head again and looked at Su Zan with a trace of fear. Master Su, follow me. Su Zan nodded and followed behind King Qingyang. Soon, several people came to a heavily guarded forbidden area in the palace. Going deep from the gate of the forbidden area, passing through several gates densely covered with formation inscriptions, finally, the front suddenly opens up. It is a circular area with a diameter of several hundred meters. There is no occlusion above, but mental energy can perceive the extremely powerful restrictions formation in the sky above. In this closed circular area, it is very empty. At the center, it is a stone platform that resembles an altar. In front of the stone platform, a huge scroll of 10 meters high stands in the air. Above the picture scroll, there is nothing else but a weird cyan sun. This is the blue sun sacred picture. Su Zan looked at the scroll curiously, but didn't feel anything special. Yes, the sacred map of Qingyang was discovered by accident here. Later, around the sacred map of Qingyang, I built this peaceful god formation and used this as the place of insight. Speaking of it, the Qingyang king's palace was built here. A large part of the reason is also because of the Qingyang sacred map. This object is the treasure of our Qingyang country, and it is hidden deep in the safest place in Qingyang country. Quote. Li Qingyang seemed to recall something, but he was also a little embarrassed. Back then, in order to get this blue sun sacred picture, that was. Okay, don't talk about the old past, how do you use this blue sun sacred picture? Su Zan waved to interrupt, and asked directly. Just stand on the stone platform and look at the sacred map of Qingyang with both eyes, and you can enter the world of pictures and perform insight. Li Qingyang paused for a moment, and continued, of course, it takes time to enter the world of pictures. For ordinary geniuses, it takes about 3 months to enter the world of pictures, and from the world of pictures, a glimpse of the green sun is insight. The fire takes another 3 months. If you want to achieve the realm where the blue sun emerges and the fiery flames are burning, it will take at least 3 years. Moreover, this is only a preliminary insight. As the more insights into the sacred map of Qingyang, the stronger the demon fire of Qingyang visualized. According to legend, after the sacred map is fully insighted, the demon fire of Qingyang can be directly burn the enemy's soul and kill the enemy invisible, terrifying. Quote. So smart, Su Zan asked curiously. Then, how long did it take you? I have been insight into the Qingyang sacred map for 60 years, probably, insight has achieved 70% of the sacred map. But in 60 years, it has been very beneficial to my mental energy. I dare say that the entire Tianan, if you talk about mental energy, if you say second, no one dares to say that you are first. As soon as the voice fell, the scene where Su Zan walked over with his own refining of gods and sages resounded, and Li Qingyang added depressedly, of course, this does not include you, Lord Su. Su Zan shook his head and smiled. My mental energy is very weak, I haven't cultivated it. Your mental energy is weak. Ha ha. Is so weak that I am immune to my refinement and manifestation. Li Qingyang slandered in his heart, and said, Master Su is too Chang. I'm telling the truth. Okay, let's not talk about this. Let me try how difficult it is to comprehend this blue sun sacred map. Su Zan said, walking towards the stone platform. Li Sr., this Su Zan. Don't ask more. Li Qingyang glanced at Qingyang Wang Ningheng, then looked at Su Zan who was walking towards the stone platform. You said, how long does it take young Master Su to enter the picture scroll world? Young Master Su is exceptionally talented. 1 month. Qingyang Wang Ningheng hesitated. After all, it took a month to leave the senior. This Suzan martial Dao has a unique talent. No matter how talented mental energy is, it can't be higher than you, right? It's really hard to tell. Li Qingyang recalled the scene of his battle with Suzan. His mental energy is very strong, or his soul is special, and his heart is very firm. If I expected it well, he will be able to enter the picture scroll world within 10 days. 10 days. How is this possible? Qingyang Wang Ningheng was shocked and incredulous. Hey, before I go to the Yuntian Sword Gate, how can I know from Qingyang that there is still this kind of abnormality in the world? Li Qingyang sighed and saw that Suzan was already sitting cross-legged, insight was up, and he waved his hand. Okay, don't disturb young Master Su anymore, let's go. Yes. The two turned and left. Just now, just after concentrating, Suzan of Insight Qingyang Sacred Map suddenly heard a systematic voice in his mind. Ding. Complete the achievement task A first cultivation mental energy and unlock the new halo Protagonist Mental Energy Halo. Protagonist Mental Energy Halo. As the protagonist, how can you be a martial Dao power exploding table, mental energies weak and partial handicapped? After opening the halo, you can quickly enter the spiritual mood left by any strong person, greatly increasing the speed of mental energy cultivation, and the talent of ascension mental energy cultivation. Sure enough, it came. Suzan smiled knowingly. Just now, he wondered if he would unlock the aura related to this aspect. Now it seems that his system is still easy to use. Mental energy halo, open. Suddenly, Suzan felt his mind clear and his perception of his surroundings became clearer, his eyes converging on the picture scroll. 3 seconds later, he entered the world of scrolls. As Suzan entered the picture scroll world, the blue sun lighted up on the picture scroll, and there was a slight buzzing sound in the space here. That is the special reaction between Ningxian formation and Qingyang Sacred 2 that only when entering the picture scroll for the first time. From senior, I seem to hear something. Su cut him. The powerful mental energy scattered from Qingyang, sensing the situation behind him, he who had already reached the entrance here suddenly turned around. Junyuan perfused his eyes, and after seeing the vision of the scroll in front of the stone platform, he was completely stupid. Unbelievably muttered. He has entered the world of picture scrolls. What? Qingyang Wang Ningheng also turned around abruptly, seeing that scene, and he was instantly dumbfounded. Enter the sacred image at a glance. This talent of mental energy is no longer inferior to martial Dao's divine body. Martial Dao talent is invincible, mental energy talent is invincible. This Suzan is too abnormal. No wonder Li Senior would be so tolerant of Suzan, so in awe. These geniuses, the 15 kingdoms of southern Tianan, have been around 10,000 years since their ancestors came to reclaim wasteland and establish a kingdom. I'm afraid there is no second one. Unprecedented. Qingyang Wang Ningheng's heart was shocked, and his grievances against Suzan had completely dissipated. This kind of genius cannot be overstated with him. What is he complaining about? With a lot of emotion in his heart, Qingyang Wang Ningheng looked at Li Qingyang and said respectfully, Li Senior, I finally know why you treated Suzan like this. A strange look appeared on Li Qingyang's face. Do you think I do this because of his talent? Is not it? King Qingyang was puzzled. This son is not just a talent. Li Qingyang shook his head. Go out and talk about it. When he walked out of the forbidden area, Li Qingyang suddenly said, Ningheng, are you very dissatisfied? I actually slapped you in public and didn't give you a little face. I don't dare. My position as a king is created by leaving senior alone. How dare I refuse to accept it? Qingyang Wang Ningheng was shocked and said quickly. Don't dare. Do you really think so in your heart? Seeing that King Qingyang was frightened, he was about to kneel down, and Li Qingyang waved his hand. You don't have to be so nervous. I can understand the human nature, but you have to know. Li Qingyang's tone increased by 1 point. The slap I gave you is to save your life. Save my life. Yes, if I hadn't taken the shot before Suzan got angry, you at this moment would have become a dead soul under his sword. Isn't it impossible? Qingyang Wang Ningheng said in surprise. His realm is not as good as me. Even if they are slightly stronger than me, they will not be able to kill me in a short time. Moreover, he dares to kill the king of Qingyang in Qingyang. Isn't he? Are you afraid to leave Senior you? Fear me. Li Qingyang snorted coldly. He's afraid of a fart. I'm afraid of him is almost the same. Like Senior, fear that Suzan. King Qingyang felt that his own brain was not enough, and he couldn't think of the reason why he was afraid of Suzan from Qingyang. By now, Sha Guo is afraid that it has spread, and there is nothing to hide. Li Qingyang sighed, I am defeated. Moreover, the defeat was terrible. If I hadn't given the Blue Sun sacred map, I am afraid that at this time, you would no longer see me. Now, do you know why I slapped you? Quote. After listening to Li Qingyang's words, Qingyang Wang Ning's heart was shocked. My mind went blank, only those words that left Qingyang. Leaving Senior. Lost. Lost to that Suzan. Moreover, it was a fiasco. According to the data, isn't it that Suzan just 16 years old and just broke through the Yuan Dan realm? Why is it so powerful? When I thought of myself just now, I dared to scold Suzan out loud. Qingyang Wang Ningheng trembled, and he was afraid for a while. Thank you Li Senior for your life-saving grace. King Qingyang's voice trembled, cold sweat ran out, and he bowed. It's okay, it's just a difficult task to bring him back now, how to do it in the future. Li Qingyang held his forehead. To be honest, if he only had insight Qingyang's sacred map, it would be fine. If he relied on his own strength and recklessly to make our Qingyang country utterly ill, it would be troublesome. Qingyang Wang Ningheng's eyes rolled. Why don't you marry the little girl to him and win one like this? Your daughter seems to be only 12 years old. Li Qingyang glanced at King Qingyang. Furthermore, this man has a very firm heart. He doesn't like the princess's vulgar fan. It seems that I still have to ask my old friends for help. Quote. The meaning of being away from Senior is, please move those fish and dragon realm seniors and kill Suzan together. Killing. This is the last helpless way. Li Qingyang shook his head. This son is talented, if we let him escape, I am afraid that there will be endless troubles. My idea is to use the power of the digital fish and dragons to suppress him and negotiate with him. If possible, I will try my best to draw this person into the camp of my Qingyang country. If he really didn't know good or bad and acted arbitrarily in my Qingyang country, then he would only have to kill him. If it is not a last resort, I don't want to get to this point. I hope that the sky will follow people's wishes. Suzan, he can be more acquainted. Quote. After speaking, Li Qingyang sighed and left here. King Qingyang looked back at the gate of the forbidden area, stretched out his hand, and recruited the nearby attendant eunuch, and said in a solemn tone, put Suzan's appearance into a picture, spread it around my palace, let all the princes, and officials, concubines, and even some captains of guards, let them remember. No matter what the situation or the reason is, there must not be any conflict with Suzan, otherwise, Zan 3 clan. Quote. Yes. Watching the eunuch's attendant leave, Qingyang Wang Ningheng's heart was slightly relaxed. Although everyone had been restrained, he was still a little worried. In case Suzan is really offended by the short-sightedness, by then, I am afraid that he will be hurt, the great king of Qingyang. But now there is no other better way, I can only hope that Li Senior can solve it as soon as possible. With a sigh, Qingyang Wang Ningheng left here. Inside the forbidden area, above the stone platform. Suzan closed his eyes and sat cross-legged. Although he could still clearly feel the movement near the stone platform, his main spiritual consciousness had already entered another world. An empty, dim world. Stepping on the dry ground, Suzan looked up. The cyan sun hung high, emitting a light that was turquoise and permeating without the slightest heat. Qingyang demon fire is not a real flame, but a powerful mental energy method, and the core of this method is in that big day. According to Li Qingyang's words, I want to comprehend something. The power of Qingyang demon fire takes 3 months, such a long period of time, it is really, Why do I suddenly feel that I have realized it? Suzan stared at the blue sun and was muttering to himself, suddenly a sentiment arose in his heart. Afterwards, he hesitated and pointed his finger towards the cyan sun. A ray of cyan flame flew towards him, soaring up and down under the control of his mind. Suzan was speechless. This is insight. Looks like my protagonist halo. It's more abnormal than I thought. Although there is no temperature, Suzan can feel the lethal power of this ray of flame. Not to the body, but to the soul. This flame can be turned into a means of attack. Of course, there is a huge difference between this and the power of the Qingyang that can be imagined by refining the gods and manifesting the sacred. It is estimated that at most it will stop the spiritual consciousness of the Yuandan realm practitioner by surprise for a very short moment. Insight's first ray of Qingyang magic fire did not have much combat meaning. However, this represents the true artistic conception of the Qingyang sacred picture that can be formally insight. Thinking about this, the ray of green sun demon fire in Suzan's hand dissipated, and he raised his head to look at the blue sun again. This time, as he stared at the blue sun, the light of the blue sun suddenly brightened. Reflected in Suzan's eyes, burning like a blue flame. At the same time, a strong burning sensation also emerged in Suzan's eyes. It seemed that his two eyeballs were being burned by extremely terrifying magic fire. Heart aura, open. Suzan's frantic heart tended to be quiet, and he did not shy away at all, still staring at Qingyang. Although the pain in his eyes, he can clearly feel that own mental energy is being strengthened a little bit. Moreover, the comprehension of Qingyang is also deepening a little bit. One day has passed. The cyan sun that Suzan was watching suddenly split into a ray of cyan flame. That ray of flame was extremely fast, blasting on Suzan's body. Soon, Suzan's body was ignited, but with the release of his mental energy, his heart became firm, and new flesh and blood continued to grow in the burned place. This flame is just the beginning. Chi 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 chi. 1 strand, 2 strands, 3 strands. ... Strands of flame burst out from the cyan sun. Those flames bombarded Suzan, and soon turned the hundreds of meters centered on him into a sea of AA cyan fire. In the sea of AA fire, Suzan frowned, in pain insight. At this time, he is not an entity, but a condensation of mental energy. Those flames calcined him, in fact, they were also tempering his mental energy. Of course, if he can't hold on, he will be swallowed by flames. Although he won't die, he will quit this world of artistic conception, dizzy, and need several days of rest to recover. Is it just that? Suzan felt for a while, and stepped into the air. In the sea of AA fire, strands of green sun magic fire intertwined under his feet, paving the way for him. Stepping on the magic fire, Suzan stepped towards Qingyang. It took a full day before he walked to the blue sun. Clenching a fist with one hand, suddenly bombarded Qingyang. Boom! The cyan sun collapsed. Flames fly. Soon, this world turned into a world of Qingyang magic fire. Above and below, all directions, no matter where you are looking, there are endless cyan flames. But Suzan was sitting cross-legged in the endless cyan flames, letting those flames swallow him. Flesh and flesh, turned to ashes. Bones, turned to ashes. But soon, new bones and new flesh and blood were born. In the flames of the sky, Suzan's mental energy amount has grown rapidly. Of course, he could not completely treat these flames as nothing. In the burning of the flame, his consciousness is also moving towards the edge of collapse. Qingyang King Palace. In a very quiet garden. Li Qingyang sat on a stone bench, looking towards the sky. Before long, rainbow lights appeared and landed in the garden. A total of 4 people, all of them are strong in the Yulong realm. Everyone, you can count it. Li Qingyang stood up suddenly and breathed a sigh of relief. Li Qingyang, what you said is true. Let each of us insight into Qingyang's sacred map for 3 years. Walking in the forefront was a 2-meter tall man who looked like an iron tower, with his upper body naked, and asked directly when they met. Ma Tianyu, just your brain, what's the use of cultivation mental energy? It's better to practice your bullshit exercises. Ha ha. Before Li Qingyang could answer, another white-haired old man already sneered. Hearing his words, the other 2 Yulong realm powerhouses also laughed. Boss Li, you shut up daddy. I wonder if daddy hates others for calling daddy the most. Yeah ma. Ma Tianyu was furious and roared. Seeing that this talk was about to start, Li Qingyang hurriedly said, you are all powerful people in the southern countries, with a little demeanor. Don't quarrel about such trivial matters. Lima's promise is absolutely valid. If you help, each person inside has 3 years of Qingyang Shengtu. Since brother Qingyang has spoken, the old man doesn't care about this stupid bull. The white-haired old man snorted coldly. You. Just as Ma Tianyu was about to harden steel with the white-haired old man, he took 2 steps and was stopped by Li Qingyang. After persuading a few words, he finally sat down on the stone bench bitterly. Everyone, this time, I just need you to do me a little favor. Li Qingyang showed an awkward look. Is that Suzanne? Just when he spoke, the white-haired old man interrupted. This matter has spread all over the world in the last few days, and the old man has also heard about it. I heard that Qingyang, brother, you fled. This time, I want the old man to help. You take revenge, kill Suzanne, and destroy the Yuntian sword gate, right? I also received this news and thought it was false, but now it seems to be quite true. Almost all the strong people in the southern countries have already known about this. Although you don't know why you will lose to a Yuandan realm with Brother Li, since you have spoken, we will help with this. Other Yulong realm powerhouses also opened their mouths, indicating that they had also learned of this. Li Qingyang smiled bitterly. It sounds like I'm useless, and now I deserve to be a laughingstock, but this Suzanne is indeed very strong. Moreover, he is now in the forbidden area of the palace to insight into the Qingyang sacred map. I asked you to come here just to suppress this person, or to force him to leave my Qingyang country. If so, he is obsessed and hates my Qingyang country, then he will ask you to take action and kill this person in the palace. Quote. It turns out that this is the case, the trivial matters are covered by Daddy. Ma Tianyu shook his casserole big fist and snorted coldly. Daddy must let that Suzanne kneel down and apologize to you. If he doesn't agree, then Daddy will let him taste it. What is the taste of this iron fist? Well, since everyone already knows, there is nothing to talk about. After the matter is done, Limo will definitely fulfill his promise. Li Qingyang nodded, and left the garden with the 4 of them. Soon, they came to the forbidden area. The last door opened. Ma Tianyu was the first to rush in, and at a glance he saw the back of Suzanne, who was sitting cross-legged with his back to the entrance, and pointed at Suzanne and yelled, "You are the Suzanne. Get Daddy off quickly, otherwise Daddy will." Before he finished speaking, Suzanne had already turned around. The slightly closed eyes suddenly opened. The pupils in the eyes, burning green flames, seemed to turn into 2 fireballs. At the same time, a cyan sun appeared behind him, shining with a palpitating light. He stared at the horse Tai Niu, who was shocked, terrified, and even trembling in his legs. Suzanne spoke coldly. What are you going to do? Maya. In that round of blue sun, Ma Tai Niu felt that he was in a sea of flames. Those flames could not be extinguished and burned out. And Suzanne, like the god of flames, stands proudly above. He even felt that his own life and death were only between Suzanne's thoughts. Under this great fear and the impact of the Qingyang demon fire on his soul consciousness, Ma Tianyu bent his legs and knelt on the ground. He shouted hoarsely, "I want to kneel down and apologize to Master Su." Suzanne was a little surprised. He was about to hit someone a second ago, so why did he kneel in a blink of an eye? It's not just him who is surprised. Those strong in the Yulong realm behind saw this scene, and they were all surprised. But when they saw the cyan sun behind Suzanne, they immediately understood why Ma Tianyu wanted to do this. Because, fear. Great fear. In this small confined space, Suzanne's vision of Qingyang might be better. Moreover, it seems that there is a blue sun sacred picture behind him. When he retired from the world of the sacred image and subconsciously visualized the Qingyang, the power of refining the gods and manifesting the sacred was greatly increased. As a result, the 5 fish and dragon realm powerhouses at this moment only feel that they are in the world of flames, and the flames impact their spirits, causing them to have headaches and trance. This person uses the power of the blue sun sacred figure to refining the gods and showing the sacred power is too strong. If this continues, we will be impacted by the green sun devil fire and become an idiot. This person must be killed. The white-haired old man roared, ignoring the burning of the flames, and forcibly shot Suzanne. A hand, like an eagle's claw, slashed towards Su. This strike, due to the inability of mental consciousness to concentrate, is probably only 80 to 90% of power. But in the eyes of the old man, let alone 80 to 90%, even if it is only 10% of the power, it is more than enough to kill an early stage of the primal core realm. But soon, his mind changed. Boom. Under Suzanne's sword chi, his body flew upside down, hit the copper wall 100 meters away, vomit blood, and fell to the ground. When Su Zan shot, the power of Qingyang demon fire also weakened. Those people got a chance to breathe and saw the scene of Su Zan slashing the white-haired old man with a single sword, and their faces turned pale. Li Qingyang, who had been beaten by Su Zan to the shadow of his heart, hurriedly learned how to kneel down, and said in horror, "The son of Su is exceptionally talented, and he can visualize Qingyang in such a short time. It is really gratifying." The other two looked at each other and noticed that the power of the Qingyang demon fire was trending again, and their hearts trembled. They also let go of the dignity of the Yulong realm, their legs bent, and they knelt on the ground. Zhou Fengguo Mali, congratulations to Master Su for his successful insight into Qingyang's sacred map. Hu Guo Husan, congratulations to young Master Su for his successful insight into Qingyang's sacred map. Su Zan glanced at a few people, and his thoughts moved. The blue sun dissipated, ending the state of refining and manifesting sacred spirits. How did you know that I am here to insight into the Qingyang sacred map? This sentence sounded, and immediately, those strong in the Yulong realm trembled in their hearts. Brother Qingyang called us to come. Let us congratulate young Master Su. Yes, it was indeed Li brother who asked us to come. Master Su, spare your life. My Ma Tianyu definitely didn't mean to offend Master Su. Several fish and dragon realm experts hurriedly spoke. Su Zan looked towards Li Qingyang, and said lightly, "Don't you say that it takes months for a ray of Qingyang magic fire to be just insight? Then why would you think that it took me only a few days to visualize Qingyang? Even, I made an appointment with 4 Yulong realm. Congratulations." Feeling the killing intent contained in Su Zan's words, Li Qingyang's heart trembled, terrified. How can I think that you can visualize Qingyang so quickly? And visualized, it is much stronger than what I visualized in insight for 60 years. I knew you were so perverted, why should I ask them to come over? Send it to death. Li Qingyang wanted to cry without tears. Knowing that he could not hide it, his voice trembled. Master Su, forgive me. I asked them to come over. The original intention was to oppress Master Su and leave our Qingyang country without hurting Master Su. Thoughts. Forcing me to leave Qingyang country. Su Zan said. Then what if I disagree? I don't agree. It doesn't matter if I don't agree. Master Su treats Qingyang country as his own home, and stays as long as I can. Li Qingyang was horrified. His mind was a little messy, and he said what he thought of. That's right. Qingyang Kingdom King Ninghang has a daughter who is very petite and cute. She has admired Master Su for a long time, or Princess Qingyang. How old is it? 12 years old. 12 a. Su Zan angrily reprimanded. Beast. Am I such a beast? Master Su, forgive me, I made a mistake in my mouth, and I ask Master Su to forgive me. Li Qingyang was almost crying, his body trembled and begged for mercy. After the battle with Su Zan, he was really scared when he saw that Su Zan mastered a more powerful means of refining the gods than him. From the bottom of my heart, I was afraid of Su Zan. Even the courage to resist can't be borne. What do you want to do? Don't have to argue too much, I understand it in my heart. Su Zan's gaze fell on Li Qingyang. For the sake of the sacred map of Qingyang, and the fact that there are not a few Yulong realms in the south of heaven, I won't kill you. Thank you young Master Su for your great kindness. Cob your head and thank you from Qingyang. If you don't kill you, it doesn't mean you won't pay the price. Young Master Su, no matter what treasures you want me to leave Qingyang, I will never hide my personal belongings from Qingyang. Su Zan groaned, and said, You give Yun Tian Janman, you will be a slave for 50 years, and you will follow the command of the Master Qin Jincheng and the Big Elder Chen Changfeng. 50 years as a slave. A dignified fish and dragon realm powerhouse, served as a slave to the Yuandan realm practitioner for 50 years. Moreover, even those who are strong in the Yulong realm have only 500 or 600 years of life, 50 years, which is by no means short. Therefore, after hearing Su Zan's words, Li Qingyang's face changed drastically. Although he was very afraid of Su Zan, he still did not immediately agree. Since you don't want to, I won't force it. No, I do. As soon as Su Zan's voice fell, Li Qingyang's heart trembled, fearing that Su Zan would not agree with him and would kill him, and immediately shouted loudly. Okay, By the way, I plan to take away this blue sun sacred map. Don't you have any comments? Li Qingyang froze for a moment, and said with a wry smile, I have no opinion, but young Master Su, this sacred blue sun cannot be taken away. I have tried many methods since the day this sacred image appeared, 60 years ago. Can't take it away. Brother Qingyang is right. This thing really can't be taken away. I tried it back then. Young Master Su wants to cultivate here. Is he still daring to refuse without Qingyang? Master Su, would you like me to try the horse Tai Niu? My horse Tai Niu is very strong, and it is not a problem to move a mountain. Maybe it will be done. You save the province. If you can even take it away, can this blue sun sacred map be stored here for so long? According to my guess, it should only be collected by the strong in the pure Yuan Jade Bone realm after reaching the second transformation of the Yulong. Quote. Several fish and dragon realm powerhouses also spoke one after another, although their words were different. But the meaning is the same. No one can take this stuff away. Hearing those people's words, Su Zan also hesitated. Opening the halo of the strange treasure, he grabbed the end of the scroll with one hand and pulled it hard. Qingyang Shengtu was torn off by him and suspended in front of him. Su Zan took the picture scroll in his hand and turned to look at the dumbfounded Ichthyosaur realm powerhouses. This sacred picture is quite easy to take. Although it is a bit bigger, it is very easy to handle. Qingyang sacred map, is it easy? Several Yulong realm powerhouses glanced at each other, and they all saw the shock in each other's eyes. Unbelievable. Since the day it appeared, for 60 years, they had used the Qingyang sacred picture that they didn't know how many methods could not take away, so Su Zan took it down. He didn't even see the secret methods Su Zan used. He just pulled the sacred map of Qingyang in his hand. This is so special. Could it be that what they could not take away after exhausting all means was the fake sacred picture? Several other Yulong realm powerhouses looked suspiciously at Li Qingyang. Brother Qingyang, didn't you say that no one in the 15 kingdoms of the southern heavenly map of Qingyang can take it away? What's the situation now? Brother Li, did you secretly plant some special restrictions when we came to take the Qingyang sacred map decades ago? Deliberately made us think that the Qingyang sacred map could not be taken away at all, so as to dispel the Qingyang kingdom. Pretending to be the treasure. Is that so? I can't see it. Li Qingyang is so calm in normal days that he doesn't fight or snatch. In fact, his motives are so deep. Feeling the suspiciousness of those strong in the Yulong realm, and even converging towards him with resentful eyes, Li Qingyang gave a wry smile. You are thinking too much. How is this possible? If I have the ability to lay down restrictions that make everyone helpless, I still used to declare to you that the blue sun sacred map is unacceptable. Quote. Li Qingyang's face was depressed. In the past 60 years, he has stayed here for many days and nights. He didn't know how many methods he had used, but they were all useless, so that he didn't have any hope. But today, this blue sun sacred figure that had made him helpless for 60 years was actually torn down by Su Zan. Looking at the top of the stone platform, he was touching Su Zan, who was looking at Qingyang's sacred map with his hand. Li Qingyang felt panic in her heart, and she had an urge to vomit blood. Martial Tao divine body, mental energy talent heaven defying, now even the sacred map of Qingyang can be taken away casually. This FCK, is it still a human? At this time, Su Zan watched for a while, and then put the sacred map of Qingyang into the storage space. This sacred picture of Qingyang not only allows him to insight into the soul-attacking method of Qingyang demon fire, but also cultivate mental energy, which is a very rare treasure. This trip to Qingyang country is not a loss. Su Zan showed a smile, looked at Ma Tianyu and other strong fish dragon realms, and said, I have accepted the sacred blue sun from Qingyang. As for you, I came here from afar and said to congratulate me. Attaching so much importance, then your gifts shouldn't be of lower value than the Qingyang sacred map, right? Thissa. Those strong in the fish and dragon realm looked bitter. It's not that they don't have treasures, they may be on par with Qingyang sacred map, and they really can't get them out. Even if they are of the same level, they are the treasures of their respective countries. How can they be easily donated? It seems that you are not to congratulate, but to kill me, the murderer. People will kill me, in this case, Thina. No, we did bring a generous gift. The value is still above the blue sun sacred map. Perceiving the deep meaning of Suzan's words, Ma Tianyu's body trembled and shouted hoarsely. Seeing Suzan looking at him, Ma Tianyu quickly continued. The dragon blood we want to dedicate to young Master Su is dragon blood. Suzan was stunned for a moment, hesitating. Just rely on you people, can you get dragon blood? And keep it for now. Ahem, Su Gongzi Mingjan, we really don't have the ability to get the blood of the true dragon, but we know where it is. Yes, it's in the Tianan mountain range. It is said that thousands of years ago, a true dragon appeared in the sky above the Tianan mountain range and fought against another wild beast. Although the two only fought in the sky above the sky for a very short time, some people saw it with their own eyes. As you can see, among the clouds, there is golden dragon blood falling into the sky and into the Tianan mountains. In the Tianan mountains, there is a huge canyon called Yunwu Canyon, which is said to have been affected by the power of a real dragon. As soon as Ma Tianyu spoke, the other two Yulong realm powerhouses also rushed to say, for fear that he was slow. Is there anything else? Suzan's eyes gleamed slightly. Real dragons are the strongest creatures in the spirit world. Even a newly born real dragon can easily crush humans in the ichthyosaur realm. Practitioner. If you can get the blood of the true dragon, the benefits will be endless. However, the place that can make these fish and dragons jealous must be very dangerous. It's better to wait for the cultivation base breakthrough to the middle stage of the Yuandan realm. Anyway, it's only one step away from the middle stage of the Yuandan realm. Thinking of this in his heart, Suzan said, if this is the case, then you will wait for me outside for a few days, wait for me to cultivation base ascension to the middle stage of the Yuandan realm, and then you will lead the way to the Yunwu Gorge to get the dragon blood. Follow Master Su's orders. Several fish dragon realm nodded quickly, dragged the old man who was seriously injured by Suzan and passed out with his mouth full of blood, and walked out together. After they left, Suzan took out the inheritance orb of the Shu family, and the power of the spiritual veins emerged. The heaven and earth spiritual chi in this place instantly increased tenfold, and he took out some medicine pills for auxiliary cultivation and threw it into the mouth, and he began to concentrate on cultivation. Outside the forbidden area, after instructing several guards to send the white-haired old man to be treated, the practitioners of the Yulong realm looked back at the gate of the forbidden area, exhaling a long breath, giving birth to a feeling of aftermath. Especially Ma Tianyu took a deep breath for a few seconds, wiped the cold sweat from his forehead, looked at Li Qingyang, and cursed. Li Qingyang, you bastard, it's so good that daddy responds quickly, otherwise, wouldn't it be necessary? Killed by you. The other two ichthyosaur realm powerhouses also showed annoyed expressions. Brother Qingyang, this is what you said that we can unite to suppress Suzan. Didn't you deliberately cheat us? Your uncle is away from Qingyang, almost I can't get out. After being scolded by those people, the corners of Li Qingyang's mouth twitched and his face was crying. I couldn't think of it, this guy is so perverted. Within a few days, I learned the artistic conception of the sacred map of Qingyang. The power of refining the gods and manifesting the sacredness is even stronger than I have cultivated for 60 years. This FCK is outrageous. Quote, it took a few days for insight to reach this point, and the sword chi was so strong that even the white-haired old man in the Yulong realm was severely injured by a sword and passed out. And Suzan, now only 16 years old, is in the early stage of the Yuandan realm. Think of these. Several people trembled in their hearts. Secretly vowed that after returning home, they must strictly order their juniors, so that they must remember not to provoke Suzan, otherwise they are afraid that they will bring disaster to the top. At this moment, Qingyang Wang Ningheng walked towards this side surrounded by a group of guards and maids. Far away, he was already laughing. Since you have come out, it seems that Suzan has already been killed. Ji Yu has already hosted a banquet in the star-catching building. Today must be drunk or not, huh? I remember being away from senior did not mean that there were 4 seniors coming together. Where is the other one? Quote, there's still Onia A. Li Qingyang didn't have a good air, it's already on the way to the Yuyifang. What? Qingyang Wang Ningheng was stunned. For a while, my mind was a little overwhelming. Away from senior, are you also, and? Qingyang Wang Ningheng trembled in his heart, but he did not dare to ask in front of those fish dragon realms. What you think is correct, I underestimated Suzan. In such a short time, he has already mastered the means of refining the gods and showing the saints. The few of us are not his opponents. Li Qingyang sighed, looked at the other fish dragon realms, and said, everyone, this is not because I failed to fulfill my promise. Young Master Su took the Qingyang sacred map. What I said before is naturally invalidated. What a bad luck. Mo Lai, a strong man in the fish and dragon realm of Zhoufeng Kingdom, looked aggrieved. Thousands of miles ran here, but I didn't get the benefits, and he gave up the blood of the true dragon to the cupped hands. Hey, the blood of the true dragon is the secret we have jointly mastered in the Yulong realm in the southern part of the sky. We may not have the opportunity to get it in the future, but now. What's wrong now? Ma Tianyu did not care. First of all, whether there is real dragon blood in that place, we haven't seen it with our own eyes, and secondly, you and I know the danger of Cloud Canyon. We went in together last time and we didn't even see the shadow of dragon blood. Escape with all injuries. There may be real dragon blood in that place, but it is definitely not something we can get. Quote. That's true. The corner of Who San's mouth raised. Actually, telling Master Su of the specific location of Yunwu Canyon is not necessarily a bad thing for us. Young Master Su is very strong, but his strength is limited. That is to say, our spiritual chi is thin, and the rare elixir is too scarce. No one can break through to the second change of the fish and the dragon. Otherwise, how can we be so humiliated? However, we can't break through. It does not mean that the fierce beasts in Cloud Canyon can't. Last time we ran into demonic beasts, the first peak of ichthyosaurs. Perhaps there is the equivalent of ichthyosaurs in the blood of the true dragon. What about the guardian of demonic beasts at the second level? If Su Gongzi was eaten by demonic beasts, that day Nan, isn't it the world I'm waiting for again? Quote. Mo Lai nodded in agreement. It's true, anyway, I'm already in this situation now, even if Su Zan gets the dragon blood and becomes stronger, as long as we don't provoke him, the situation will not get worse. Well, no matter what you think about it, we still don't think carefully before we confirm that Su Gongzi is dead. Otherwise, you all understand the consequences, and I won't chat today. My internal injuries have not healed, and I need to adjust my breath. Quote. After leaving Qingyang, he left directly. Afterwards, the other fish and dragons also moved towards the residence that Qingyang Wang Ningheng had reserved for them. At this time, outside the forbidden area, Qingyang Wang Ningheng was in a trance. There are only 7 Yulong practitioners in the Tianan region, but now, 5 of them have joined forces, and they are not Su Zan's opponents. Thanks to him a few days ago, he still felt that Su Zan was dead, and now it seems that the entire Tianan is already respected by Su Zan. Suppress the 5 ichthyosaurs by one person. Qingyang Wang Ningheng turned abruptly, and said to the eunuch who was close to the eunuch, for the lonely eunuch. Send Sha Guo and Yuntian Zhanmen, saying that Qingyang State is willing to make an alliance with Sha State. The lonely is also willing to be in personal capacity. Good Yuntian Zhanmen. The words must be sincere, and they must not carry the arrogance of a powerful country. In addition, from the gifts presented by those small countries over the years, pick a batch of the best and send them over. Yes, Great King. But Great King, Sha Guo doesn't seem to have a good relationship with Zhoufeng country. If we do this, will it affect the relationship with Zhoufeng country? What's the impact? With Su Zan's strength, it is only a matter of time before the major forces of the entire Tianan go forward. Our Qingyang country is one step ahead. There is no harm but no harm. Qingyang Wang Ningheng waved his hand and left with a bit of exhaustion. 2 days later, Su Zan's cultivation base broke through to the middle stage of the Yuandan realm, walked out of the Forbidden Land, and headed to the Tianan Mountains with the several Dragon Realm experts who had been waiting for a long time. The Tianan mountain range is extremely wide, like a huge wall, isolating all the 15 countries of Tianan from the outside world. The Tianan mountains are full of wild jungles, and the dangers are so dangerous that in the Tianan region, few have successfully passed through the Tianan mountains to the outside world. After all, even those who are strong in the Yulong realm can only be as high as 6 to 7 kilometers in the air. As they go up, they will be affected by the extremely strong spiritual pressure of the spirit world, and their speed will be greatly reduced. It is possible to be overwhelmed by the pressure of spiritual chi from the world of terror. Therefore, the Tianan mountain range is almost a forbidden area for the 15 kingdoms of Tianan. At most, they dared to move around the edge of the mountains, and never dared to go deep. But this time Suzan was going to the Yunwu Canyon in the depths of the Tianan mountain range, and he couldn't care too much. 2 days later, Tianan Mountains. Above a canyon, Suzan looked down. Clouds and mist were lingering, and huge trees could be vaguely seen. This is the place where the blood of the true dragon is buried. But this canyon is so big, you don't have any more accurate information. Suzan frowned. Master Su, forgive me, we have been there once, but we were soon forced back by demonic beasts among them. I really don't know the exact location of the blood of the true dragon. In that case, you can go down with me to find it, there are so many people and powerful. No, no, no. Hearing this, several ichthyosaur realm experts broke into cold sweat on their foreheads and shook their heads again and again. Master Su knows something. The demonic beasts in the Cloud Canyon are very sensitive to human aura. The more people go down, the easier it will be to attract their attention. At that time, our strength will be weak and we will attract powerful demonic beasts. This is not for Master Su. Are you unhelpful? Yes, yes, and the Yunwu Canyon is actually not very big. If it goes well, Lord Su can probably search it all in one day. Let's go down, except to cause trouble for Lord Su, that's really a shit. Suzan glanced at a few people. Really? Master Su Mingjian, how could we have the courage to deceive Master Su Yu? The four of them looked at each other and all smiled bitterly. By the way, young Master Su, this is Theling Yuan Pei, which can avoid hundreds of poisons without invading water or fire. This dragon-patterned soft armor is a top-notch mysterious weapon, with a very strong defensive power. It's safer for young Master Su to wear it. This is a golden light charm. After being excited, it can form a golden mask, and its defense power is stronger than the dragon-patterned soft armor in a short time. Master Su, there are enough defensive treasures, and there is no shortage of attacking you. This Ascense Bronze Mirora can sense the special heaven and earth elixir or strange treasures nearby, and it is very useful for you to find dragon blood. His eyes swept across the four people, and all the treasures were accepted. In fact, he has a lot of these similar treasures. Of course, the quality is not as high as those of these fish and dragon realm powerhouses. Feeling the amazing spirit power contained in those treasures, Suzan showed a satisfied expression and said, "Since you don't want it, I won't force it, so leave." After he finished speaking, he hung the Lingyuan pendant around his waist and put on the dragon-patterned soft armor. Passing through the white mist, Suzan landed on the ground. Before he could stand firmly, Demonic Beasts was startled by the movement of his landing, and rushed towards him violently. "It's human. Tiny human." Excited spiritual message came out. Suzan turned his head and saw that it was a demonic beast about 5 meters high. He didn't know the specific species, but what is certain is that this demonic beast has reached the 5th stage, which is equivalent to the practitioner of the human Yuandan realm. With a thought, the Junwu sword came out of its sheath and fell into the hand. Suzan cut it out. Buzz. The Junwu sword buzzed, releasing golden light, and suddenly, this sword power was increased by 30%. Laugh. Sword chi flew out, passed through demonic beasts, and cut the trees several miles ahead. Rumble. The tree collapsed, and in the dust, the demonic beast split in two and fell to the ground. Yuan Dan Realm Middle Stage, is it so powerful? Suzan was a little surprised. He didn't even use the Starfire Streaming Light swordsmanship. He just slapped it at will, and he actually had such a powerful force. But, how come the middle stages of the Yuan Dan realm that I have encountered are so weak? Can you kill with one punch? After thinking for a while, Suzan left directly. The corpse of demonic beasts, left outside may cause many Yuandan realm practitioners to fight, but for Suzan, I don't like it anymore. Soon, he met the second demonic beasts. Go down with a sword and kill instantly. Searched in the Cloud Canyon for 2 hours, but found nothing. Su Zanjung doubted whether he had been deceived, and a small red dot appeared on the bronze mirror. Is this a panacea for sensing heaven and earth? Or is it where the dragon's blood is? Su Zan's eyes lit up, and he walked in the direction of the red dot. It didn't take long before he came to the place where the red dot was. On the bronze mirror, the light also shone violently. Looking at the heaven and earth elixir in front of him, Suzan was a little surprised. It turned out to be a towering lotus. He had refined one plant at the beginning, but he didn't expect to encounter another plant here. Although the towering lotus is rare, it is not too powerful an elixir for Suzan now. And obviously this towering lotus can't be compared with the psychic one at the time. Suzan walked towards the towering lotus somewhat lost. Roar. There was still nearly 100 meters away from the towering lotus, and an angry beast roar sounded. Immediately afterwards, a cyan half-moon-shaped wind blade flew towards him at an extremely fast speed. Rumble. Wherever the wind blade passes, hurricanes are born, tearing everything to pieces along the way. This power, Yulong realm level. Suzan's eyes condensed. He drew out his true martial arts sword, and cut out a spark of sword chi. Sword chi collided with wind blade and dissipated at the same time. Afterwards, a cyan, huge wolf-shaped demonic beasts with a height of 10 meters appeared, and 4 legs gave birth to cyan wind energy, and the speed was very fast towards Suzan. Wind Wolf King. Demonic beasts of the 6th order wind system are extremely fast, extremely powerful, and good at ambushing sneak attacks. They generally don't confront the enemy head-on. This demonic beast's information appeared in his mind, and Suzan was a little surprised. Wouldn't it be in a head-on confrontation with the enemy? Why are you so excited when you see me? Do I look delicious? Seeing the giant claws of the Wind Wolf King slapped over, Suzan revolved the Star Promise body. The true martial arts sword that was originally based on absolute power was even more powerful. Boom. Wind Wolf King's huge body rolled over to the ground. Wolf claws are bloody. And Suzan also withdrew from 100 meters away, and the dragon print soft armor on his body shone brightly, unloading the power of the blow of the Wind Wolf King. The humans of damn it. They attacked this king unexpectedly. The angry spiritual message of the Wind Wolf King came out. Suzan was speechless. Sure enough, demonic beasts just can't speak. Once they can speak, they don't wanting face than human beings. Seeing the Wind Wolf King got up angrily, the blue light all over his body skyrocketed, and his power was much stronger than before, and Suzan also put away the Junwu sword. A little starlight flew out from the center of his eyebrows, and the Dahi Star sword fell into his hand. The Sword of Life originally grew up with its owner. With Suzan's breakthrough to the middle stage of the Yuandan realm, the Dari Star sword has become more powerful. Sparkle swordsmanship. Cut out with one sword. Sword intent merges with sword chi. A big river of stars a few miles long appeared. How could the human beings in the Yuandan realm be so terrifying? The Wind Wolf King's pupils suddenly shrank, releasing a terrifying spiritual message, and the blue light on his body flashed wildly, and he hurriedly turned and fled. But it was too late. The galaxy cluster landed. Boom. A few miles ahead, all the creatures collapsed, leaving a broken road. The Wind Wolf King's huge body was full of blood, and many bones were forced out of the body, puncturing the flesh and blood, and he was already dead and could not die again. One sword, slash tier 6 demonic beasts. However, this Wind Wolf King apparently just broke through tier 6 soon, and is slightly weaker than Li Qingyang and the others. Today, without using his divine body, he still wants to kill the Yulong realm with a single sword. Difficulty. Dahi Star sword returned to Zifu to be pregnant. Suzan stepped forward and took out the monster core from the Wind Wolf King. Only demonic beasts of Ichthyosaur realm will give birth to monster core. This kind of monster core can be used to refine medicine pill, or as a material for some special treasures, which is extremely precious. After taking out the monster core, he hesitated. Suzan still put the corpse of the Wind Wolf King into the storage ring. The corpse of demonic beasts in the Yulong realm is also considered a treasure in Tianan. Picking off the towering lotus, Suzan left here. After another 2 hours, after searching a small half of the Cloud Canyon, demonic beasts played a lot, and even the shadow of the blood of the real dragon was not found. Suzan Zheng moved forward with some trouble. Suddenly, there was a fierce fighting in front of him. After crossing a hill, Suzan also saw the situation there clearly. A girl in white with exquisite features and no blemishes is fighting the 3-headed demonic beasts. The 3 demonic beasts are all tier 5, equivalent to the early stage combat power of the primal core realm. And that girl is only in the main realm of soldiers, but with an ice blue flame in one hand and a golden flame in the other, she actually crushed the 3 demonic beasts and gained the upper hand. Maybe soon, the girl will be able to kill the 3 demonic beasts. But she didn't have this chance. Because Suzanne made a move. You don't even need to use the true martial arts sword, Suzanne's 2 fingers together, moving a little bit of space over there. The mighty sword intent galaxy cluster emerged, pressing down towards the 3 demonic beasts. Boom. The next moment, the body of the 3 demonic beasts burst into pieces and turned into flesh and blood in the sky. The girl was stunned for a moment, then looked at Suzanne with a surprised expression. Suzanne, it's you. Miss Jiaoyu, long time no see. Suzanne walked to the girl Su Jiaoyu and smiled. It's not long, but your cultivation base seems to have improved a lot. Yuan Dan Realm Middle Stage. Su Jiaoyu fell a little dejected when she heard this. I thought I reached the late stage of the main stage of the soldiers in such a short time, and I have caught up with you, but I didn't expect that I was so far behind. I was lucky and got some treasures. If it's boring cultivation, maybe it's about the same as you. Suzanne smiled and didn't care. In fact, what he said was the truth. As Su Jiaoyu, who mostly also has a protagonist template, although his cultivation speed is slightly slower than him, it is also extremely abnormal when compared with other shit geniuses in Tianan, such as Li Changxing and Mo Tianji. Sensing the cultivation base realm of Su Jiaoyu soldier realm, Suzanne curiously asked, don't talk about this, why did you come here? With your strength, coming to the Tianan mountains is very unstable, right? I have dry blue ice flame, and I have learned some special concealment methods recently. Those demonic beasts are hard to find me. It's a pity that. Well, Suzanne, what is your current strength? Su Jiaoyu was a little lost, and suddenly remembered Suzanne's sword intent that directly killed the 3-headed tier 5 demonic beasts. She moved in her heart and asked expectantly. My strength. Suzanne pondered for a moment, probably equivalent to the Yulong realm. Ichthyosaur realm. Su Jiaoyu was stunned for a moment, and said, if you don't mind, we can act together. I am here for the dragon's breath. You must be for the blood of the legendary true dragon. Where Longxian is located, there must be a real dragon thing. What you are looking for is most likely near Longxian, and I already know the exact location of Longxian. How about our cooperation? Quote. Suzanne's eyes fell on Su Jiaoyu, who was looking forward to it, and nodded. If the girl Jiaoyu really has a clue to the blood of the true dragon, we can cooperate. Good. Su Jiaoyu said earnestly. Although it is not certain that the place where dragon respiratory flame is located, there will be real dragon blood, but I can assure you that there is definitely something to carry true dragon spirit power, otherwise dragon respiratory flame will not endure thousands of years. Extinguish. With that, a layer of blue flame appeared on Su Jiaoyu's body, isolating her breath. Suzanne, don't you have any means of hiding? No, since you are looking for the blood of the true dragon, you will inevitably encounter the powerful demonic beasts, which are hidden and do not have much effect. Suzanne shook his head. Okay, Thina A. Su Jiaoyu was a little helpless, and simply took back the dry blue ice flame. Suzanne has no special concealment methods, and it is useless for her to use dry blue ice flames. Afterwards, the two briefly exchanged a few words and left here. It didn't take long to come under a small hill. Suzanne's gaze swept across the surrounding environment. For some reason, he always felt familiar here. Suzanne, not far in front, there is a very powerful demonic beast, probably in the Yulong realm. Su Jiaoyu's expression became serious. She leaned to Suzanne's ear, and whispered, but there is a towering lotus that is not yet fully mature in that place besides the powerful demonic beasts. I also went to pick the towering lotus. No, be careful to be seen. The dry blue ice flame can hide the breath, but it can't make me invisible. Towering lotus. Suzanne hesitated. Is the fierce beast you are talking about, 10 meters high, like a big wolf, with wind attributes, that can spit out wind blades? Yes. Su Jiaoyu was startled. How do you know Suzanne? Suzanne's face was weird. If you guessed it correctly, the demonic beasts you were talking about had already been killed by me. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe.